Sweet. Sweet. That fucking turned on. Cool. Now get this turned on. And bada bing, bada boom. Want to see him? Want to see him? Well, that's gonna be way too fucking loud. A little too loud. There we go. There we go. Get this little pole loaded up. Get myself decompressed and start relaxing a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't want to get like too relaxed, but knowing my stoner ass, that ain't gonna work. Nazis shouldn't drive. Nazis shouldn't drive. Nazis shouldn't drive. Talking to Deep Fried Heatwave MC. Dude, fuck the heat, bro. I'm done with this heat. I've been done with the heat. Like, legit. I'm just fucking done with it now. Ugh. And also, like, karaoke was probably, like, the slowest and the, fucking, like, laziest day that it would ever had existed. Like, legit. Tyler's gonna see a band Saturday in 100-degree heat. Oh, at Metal Mania? Dude, bro, stick around for the fucking wrestling, dude. Dude, I'm a wrestling fan of the local Portland wrestling scene. I'm sorry, I'm a fan now. Like, I'm gonna be a wrestling hog. Like, honestly, because, dude, you need to show up at 5 for that entire thing, for wrestling and all of it, dude. I'm being serious. It is so raw. It's so good. I don't even know how to explain it. It's a fucking amazing. It's amazing. I love the fuck out of it. I had too many good experiences with the fucking wrestling that's happened before. You got it. You got to. I saw wrestling at Gigantic. It's all right. Dude, you gotta look out for Mecha Wolf. Look out for Mecha Wolf at the wrestling tomorrow, dude. If I wasn't sick, this past week, every other day and having to deal with that bullshit due to food poisoning and stuff, honestly, I would call in tomorrow just to go see that, bro. Because, dude, I'm a wrestling fan now around here. I'm an Anarcho Pro Wrestling, like, connoisseur. I'm going to show, then dive my sweaty ass into Lambert after. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, depending on what you're doing afterwards, I mean, considering my work schedule and all that, I'm just going to be going to karaoke like I normally do on Saturday, but fuck, bro. I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous as fuck, between all of you. Would you last in the heat? It's outdoors. Yeah. I was at Cessfest outdoors. That was an outdoor venue, and yeah, I survived all day. That was from 1 o'clock until like 9. So, yeah, I could survive if it's outside. Yeah. I mean, just stay hydrated and, all that. Stay in the shade, and shit. So, Cessfest was 10 degrees cooler. So, I mean, stay in the shade, stay hydrated, just do the emphasis on that. I would be fine. I would think I would be. Oh, I got murked. I saw that in the group chat, dude. Dude, I swear to God, bro, if Harley keeps this up, man, I'm being honest, we're gonna see a Telegram chat or some shit, or like we're gonna get a text or something from his mom or a family member that he died. Like, legit, bro. We're gonna, like, hear a fucking message from the ether that he just, like, died in a wreck. If he keeps this up, bro, he's gonna fucking get himself killed. I mean, you know what? Honestly, all in all, I don't think he would want it any other way if you think about it. I mean, with the whole, like, live free, ride hard and all that shit, like, I mean, it would tie into that, right? So it's like, I don't think he would want it any other way, you know what I mean? But it's like, fuck, bro. It's like, can we, like, wait until you're, like, 83 or something? Can we wait until you're, like, dementia addled or something? Can we wait until you're, like, dementia mode and you are living your fucking 20s again as an 80-year-old man in a dementia mode and fucking going, or some shit? I would prefer that, because at least then I'd be like, you know what? I'm not even going to be sad. I'm actually going to respect it. I would love it. But now, I would just bawl my eyes out, bro. I'm not even going to lie. I'll be like, bro, you son of a bitch. You sons of a bitch. I swear, man, like, one of these days, it's gonna, he's gonna have, like, a legitimate, like, and, like, a streak with death closer than he's ever had before because of shit like this. I'm honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. And I love, and the reason why is because he's my friend. I love him. He's one of my closest buds, right? Like, so it's like, I mean, same with you and everyone else, right? Like, he's our closest G, right? Like, so it's like, it does make me, every time he's in an accident, it makes me think, oh, fuck. Like, when is the next accident going to be the one where he goes Hail Mary and just fucking murks it? You know what I mean? Because, like, I don't know, dude. Was it his fault or the lady's fault? It wasn't clear from his explanation. I don't fucking know. From what it sounds like, he was turning on the intersection and some lady didn't stop at that intersection, which would be yielding for pedestrians. I think, honestly, even with that considered, like, there's the whole law about yielding for pedestrians, where pedestrians technically have, an extra defense of the law when it comes to traffic laws. So even if technically Harley might be in the wrong, I think that lady might genuinely, be, like, more at fault because of that. He wasn't a pedestrian, so that doesn't matter. Would a bicyclist be considered a pedestrian? He was on a motorbike. Yeah, I know he was on his motorbike, but I guess this really depends on local law, I suppose, doesn't it? Because I would think, like, depending on what the definition of pedestrian is when it comes to, like, not being in a vehicle, like walking, biking, stuff like that, bicyclists don't count as pedestrians. Are you fucking serious? They should be. Like, it's, from what I honestly understand, like, pedestrian means someone who's not in a motorized vehicle in a sense of, like, a car, truck, SUV, stuff like that. Like, a bicycle, whether it's electric or otherwise and stuff, and anything lower than that, I thought was the definition of pedestrian when it came to, like, bikeways, walk paths, etc. I don't think anywhere counts cyclists as pedestrians. I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe it's just a philosophy of mine, but in my definition, anyone who isn't in a motorized vehicle who has to use the roadways strictly would consider be a pedestrian. Like, and I know there is, like, a line when it comes to motorized bikes and stuff like that, and shit. But I don't know. Like, I mean, like, I feel like when it comes to a cyclist or, like, a skateboarder or, someone who's a scooterist and shit, and stuff like that, I would consider them pedestrians. And the laws when it comes to cycling, pedestrian laws and shit like that, should be attributed, across the board, depending on what you're using. Whether it's a bike, walking around, using a scooter and stuff. Like, I mean, there should be kind of like a broad, like, pedestrian standard law where it comes to these things. And I do think, a lot of the normal regulations that come to cyclists and shit like that should be there. Like, when it comes to bike laws and stuff like that, I do think that should be incorporated into this. You know, it's not that I'm against bike laws. I actually am very in favor of that, by the way. I'm just saying. I just think that I would label that as a part of the broader pedestrian, movement, versus like, driving a car, or a truck or something, Like, I would think, it would at least, be like, maybe like one step above pedestrian, but it would still be a part of that broader, like, emphasis in a sense. Because the idea of, like, a bicyclist not really being pedestrian, it's like, I like to think, even if I'm riding my bike or walking in or just walking, without a bike, I'm still a pedestrian. It's like, obviously, if I'm riding a bike, I still have to follow bike laws, and I do, or at least do the best I can with that, from what I know. But it's just like, I still consider myself a pedestrian nonetheless, though. Because, like, hey, if I'm exhausted or something, I'll just walk. And if I'm walking with my bike, I'm now a pedestrian. But as soon as I get on it and I'm riding it, suddenly I'm not. It just seems, I don't know. I'm like, that's why I feel like, when it comes to that, pedestrians should include bicyclists and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that, like, the laws of, like, bike laws and stuff like that shouldn't be negated. It should still be there. It should just be a part of, like, the broader idea of what a pedestrian is, I think. I mean, like, and if anything, pedestrian, like, accidents, like, if a bicyclist on a electric EV bike or some shit, or just a regular bike, is not paying attention, is being a fucking moron, and runs into somebody who's walking down the street, they should be held accountable 100%. Because, like, yeah, like, I mean, if you got a bicyclist who's being a dick and not paying attention and runs into somebody, they should be held accountable just as much as, someone doing a hit and run with a car, right? Maybe not to the same degree of severity, but they should still certainly face a repercussion for that. I mean, definitely. Part of it is to reduce bike pedestrian conflicts. Bikes move a lot faster than pedestrians. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I'm not against that, nor ignoring that. I just, I think, for me, I think it's just philosophically, like, there's a lot of people who are, like, bicyclists, and, will take a scooter and stuff, but at the same time, those same people usually walk a lot of the time when they're not using those things. It's like, and a lot of times, people are usually taking those, forms of transportation so they can go to an area where they can predominantly walk around at. It's like, oh, I'm going to ride my bike to the park so I can walk around the park, and hang out with one of my buddies or something like that I'm meeting at the park or something. Some shit like that. Like, so that's kind of where I philosophically stand with it, at least. It's because I think it all kind of ties into the same thing. It doesn't mean that, like, the laws around, like, cycling and, having a scooter, especially if it's, like, electric or motorized. I mean, I definitely don't want those laws to go away. They certainly should be, if anything, even just as restrictive and enforced, but there should be at least, like, a sense of, like, there's still kind of a sense of pedestrian in a way that, like, isn't the same level as someone driving a car or a truck, on the main roads. Like, because, a lot of these people don't use those at all. But that's why I think, a lot of these, like, bikeways, walkways, and these pedestrian, different, ways, walkways and shit, these different paths that aren't, like, specific automotive based and shit. I think those, are way more successful and actually incorporate this way better than anything. And honestly, there's a lot of, like, this rule of mouth kind of thing, I suppose, in a lot of these different paths, like, bike trails, and these different little, like, watershed trails and shit, where it's obviously pedestrian based, but people with bikes, EVs, motorized, etc., will use them, and there's still at least a sense of cohesion where it works. But whenever it comes to an actual road, suddenly there's, like, a detachment from that. I mean, that's really where it comes down for me. It's like, we need to incorporate our roads to be more pedestrian friendly, and that includes, adding restrictions and more responsibility to automotive vehicle drivers. But especially if they're driving these fucking F-150s, these super jacked up trucks or whatever the fuck. These oversized trucks that do not need to be so goddamn fucking big. It's like, I mean, goddamn, bro. Honestly, I think that's really what it comes down to. That shit needs to just be more restrictive. So these roadways could be more pedestrian friendly, and thus, by proxy, make it more cyclist friendly. You know, that's really what it comes down to for me. It's just like, we can blend this shit together where it actually is friendly for everybody, but America especially does not want to do that. It's very automotive centric. Unlike everywhere else in the world, for the most part, we are exceptional with this shit. And it is so fucking dumb. So stupid. Like, we're so automotive centric that it is honestly insane. Like, when I was in fucking Iceland, like, I still remember to this day how, like, pedestrian friendly, whether you're biking around or driving or walking around, like, how friendly it was. It was honestly wild with, like, I can literally walk around this entire town. Granted, it was tiny as fuck for being the capital. It's Reykjavik, for fuck's sake. It's Iceland. Barely anyone lives there. But still, it's like, it was very fucking dense for a city. Like, there was a lot of people there. It was hustling, bustling, literally 24/7 until, like, the alcohol cutoff at 5 until 7. Like, there was literally, like, a 2 to 4 hour period where it was dead. But beyond that, dude, that city is bustling 24/7. Well, maybe, like, 20, hours, 7 days a week, basically. But, like, every day. Every fucking day. There's, like, 4 hours where it's, like, dead, and that's it. Like, it's constantly bustling. And there's cars, people biking around, walking around, all the time. It's, like, and honestly, Portland ain't really that much different. There's definitely a way more of a stricter and longer cutoff, because America, baby. But out in Europe, like, that shit goes on for a long time. And it's fun. Like, I mean, being out in the bar until like 4 in the morning until you're like about to pass out because you honestly end up not like drinking anymore after 2 because you're just talking with people for hours on end, just on some like silly drunken stupor, or maybe smoking some bud with somebody or some shit. Dude, I'm telling you, there's no better experience, honestly. I can see why they honestly just leave the bars up until 5 because like a lot of people are just like chit chatting and like talking for the most part at that point. Like after 2 or 3, like most people are just like so drunk they don't give a fuck and just chatting with people or going home, or everyone else that is, like wanting to party just a little longer. They know how to handle themselves and make most of the night. And it's fun. It's like, how can we not have that here? Like, not just of that type of vibe, but also with the infrastructure. And, like, when it comes to just, like, making shit friendly in these, downtown city areas. Like, Portland's way better about this than most cities, I will admit. But even then, we're still bad about it. Like, I mean, that's saying something. Like, we're way better than most of America when it comes to, like, acknowledging these things. But holy fucking shit, we are still so far behind. Because we try to have, like, these European-style, like, roundabouts and stuff. But no one here in America in general, let alone here in fucking Portland, knows how to use them. Nobody knows how to use them at all. And roundabouts, especially places like Europe, are a normal thing. People know how to use those. It's actually pretty easy to use them when you know how to use them. But no one around here understands how the fuck to use them unless you live in those neighborhoods where they have them. Like, I mean, dead ass. Like, no one knows how to literally no one understands them. It's a nightmare trying to go through them just because legit nobody knows how to use that shit. I've noticed any problems. I guess you've gotten lucky because every time I've like had to go for a roundabout, unless I'm on a bus, it is such a nightmare because a lot of people around here just don't know how to use them. And it ends up being kind of like questionable, like, oh, are you going forward? Are you doing this? What are you doing? It's... But you don't drive? I mean, I've been driven around, and plus I have friends that do drive. Like, I mean, I don't specifically drive, but I've been around a lot of these type of things when you're on the bus. Well, not just when I'm on the bus. My friends drive, and I hang out with them, especially when I was, like, going to, like, places like Mount Adams, Mount Tabor, and all these other places, smoking weed and, like, drinking until, like, 5 in the morning. Like, dude, we would do this shit all the time. Like, especially in my early days, in my early 20s. Like, that was a normal thing. We would drive around all for fucking Portland with me and my friend Logan, Harley, etc. Do you have a bike? Oh, yeah, we do the same thing with that, too. Yeah, ride our bikes for all throughout Portland, hell is smoking weed and shit, dude. I mean, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just kind of like, maybe, like, I don't know, what I present seems more like, not as expansive or exploreful about, a lot of this type of shit, but I'm telling you, man, like, when it comes to certain things, like, especially Portland and understanding some of the weird niches about it, and with our unique infrastructure around here, especially in comparison to a lot of other cities I've been to, from like Dallas to Billings. I've been to LA once, Orlando once, and shit like that. Like, I mean, yeah, I've been for a lot of different cities in the U.S. and Portland is definitely a little unique when it comes to with how it structures itself around that. But even then, like, and if anything, I think honestly that's why people don't get it, because it's like, there's like Portland and just kind of Oregon in general, with the Oregon State Constitution and the Oregon, like government on top of like the Portland government specifically, especially. Like, the Portland government is kind of weirdly like half European, half like American. It's really strange, and that's why we have like the Portland Police Bureau, the Portland Fire Bureau. Like, that's why a lot of the departments are bureaus in Portland specifically, because of that reason. Because it's kind of like weirdly European-esque, when it comes to certain things. Not everything, but at least certain stuff, and that's kind of why, like, I think it's so odd and people don't get it around here, because there is that kind of blend. And I think honestly, for me, when I was in Iceland for the one time, like, it being out there, especially for Reykjavik, like, it weirdly felt kind of homey. It felt like I was in like some sort of downtown suburb outside of Portland. I'm not even kidding. It really did kind of feel like that, but really fucking European. Like, it, like, that's kind of what it felt like. I was in like literally like some hella deep ass like Scandinavian neighborhood of Portland or some shit. So, like, it really felt like that or something. Like, dead ass. Because, like, I mean, there is so much that is, like, I guess, kind of unique, weirdly American about, Reykjavik, but at the same time, very European as fuck. I mean, such a strong blend of that. And weirdly enough, kind of, Portland has like a similar blend to that, but I think instead of like the cultural blend, being European, it's like Asian and Hispanic, and African American a little bit, especially with North Portland of like Alberta, Killingworth region and shit. So, I mean, it probably varies depending on what area of Portland you're in, but like there's like kind of a trifecta of blends when it comes to that. And I love it. It's fucking awesome. North Portland is such a fucking beautiful area of Portland. When I was going to Fest and checking out like some of the neighborhoods of North Portland, on the 4th, I was like, dude, why is like this side of Portland hella beautiful? Like, what the fuck? It's like, I mean, for being like a really I mean, for when I understand the history of like North Portland, like about where Curlin's with and shit, and how much of a strong black community was around there and being very redlined, like, I don't know, it's really definitely kind of kept a charm, the entire time. Like, because it's a very beautiful place. I mean, even back in 2020, like, I, was out in that shit, and it's like, fuck, bro. It's like, I can understand where there's a lot of struggle going on around here, because I can see it, but it's like, it's still a very beautiful place. And it's like, I think people just highlight the problems of these areas too much. Because, like, what you don't see is genuinely pretty beautiful. I really love these neighborhoods. I love these places. I love the parks in these areas. In like the worst parts of Portland, quote unquote, it's like they're really honestly generally very beautiful places. Minneapolis and DC are tied for number 1, and number 2 is tied between St. Paul, Seattle, New York, and Albuquerque. Albuquerque, no shit, really. Out here is annoying because they put bike and pedestrian lanes on the same damn sidewalk. And for me, it's like, I kind of feel like they should kind of be somewhat the same, but like there needs to be more of an emphasis on like pedestrian / cyclist friendly infrastructure in general, and like more of just a blend of these things. Because like then you get like pedestrians and then like cyclists, because I guess apparently they mean different things. I didn't realize that. I always philosophically lumped cyclists and scooterists and skaters and people like that with pedestrians, but I guess not. I guess they're not, technically. So it's like, I've always lumped them in the same. It's like, bike share the road. Yeah, I mean, which I get. Yeah, because you have the bike lanes and all that shit. And you also have a lot of these bigger, like, pedestrian slash cyclist ways where it's split between bicyclists and pedestrians and shit. Which honestly, for me, I think it's just better. Like I've had way more closer, dangerous encounters, being on the road on a bicycle lane versus one of these, sidewalk bicycle lanes. I mean, honestly, because this is like, I'll just like kind of be casually cruising, and if someone happens to be in the way this way or that way, I'll just bloop, bob out of the way this way, on the far end of them, and just bloop, bob the other way somewhere else or some shit. Like, I ain't trying to fucking, cause no issues or disrupt people or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you definitely get some assholes for sure. It's always fun because you get those people pretending like they're on Tour de France list. But yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, you definitely get assholes like that for sure. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, you gotta have to, I don't know. It's like, for me, I want, like, there be a enforcement of, like, cycling and, vehicle infrastructure and shit like that. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there could be a balance, with this shit. When all sent me, didn't even try to slow down. It's like, dude, just use the road. Yeah, maybe that needs to be the thing. Like, I mean, maybe there needs to be, like, certain, like, maybe, like, bicycle cops, that can go, like, 40 if they need to, but are just, like, casually cruising, these, like, pedestrian slash bikeways, and if someone's, trying to treat it like the Tour de France or whatever, going 40 miles an hour, then you can stop them. Just like, how someone speeding on the fucking road is. Like, maybe that's just really what, actually, that really should be the case. It's like, maybe just, invest in bike cops and have them have, like, like the equivalent of NOS on their bikes, when they have to chase somebody down to stop them and be like, hey, what the fuck? Why are you going 40 miles an hour in a bikeway when the max speed limit is 20 around here? And that's for bike lanes / pedestrian ways, period, across the board. Should never go beyond that as far as I'm concerned. Because even if you're, got an EV or a motorized vehicle, if you can't go over, if you literally legit can't, like, stay under that limit, then sure, take, the bike lane on the road. But if you can stay under that limit, then you could take the rest of the speedways or whatever, or the bikeways or whatever, the bike trails or the water trails, whatever, like, take that. Maybe there should be, like, a set mile per hour, limit on, pedestrian / bike trails. And anyone that's going over that limit when it comes to, like, EVs or motorized bikes, then they have to use the roadways, and use the bike lanes on those roadways. But if not, then you can use anything else. I don't know. Like, I mean, I think there can be a balance with this shit because, I mean, I argue more so for, like, cyclists / pedestrians in this case, more so to automotive drivers, broadly. But, now I do understand, like, pedestrians, who are just walking around everywhere, having their, qualms around this. But I think a lot of that's just because of just how shitty infrastructure is around this shit in general. I mean, Portland ain't unique around this either. I mean, frankly, a lot of places in this country are way fucking worse about it. So if you think we got it bad around here, oh man, look at Dallas, look at fucking, Santa Fe. Like, I mean, look at the fucking San Fran. Look at a lot of these places. I mean, they're genuinely pretty worse in comparison to us. I mean, even if they are genuinely have, like, some infrastructure here and there, or at least, make an attempt, they're still nowhere near as good as us. And even then, apparently, we're being beat by Albuquerque, fucking DC, and what else? Like St. Paul or some shit? What was the other one? Minneapolis, DC are tied for 1. And the tie for number 2 is St. Paul, Seattle, and New York City, and Albuquerque. So technically, Portland's like number 5 or something. How? Wait, it's honestly by that? What the fuck? How are we number 5 as Portland? I think we should be like number 2 or something. What the fuck? Boo. You know what? How's Seattle beat our ass? How's Seattle beating our ass? How is Seattle beating our ass? I don't like that. Seattle's my second home, but, bro, no. I don't want Seattle beat my ass. They're our little brother, not our big brother, okay? They are not supposed to beat us on anything. They're supposed to catch up for shit that we do. It's nice up there, not gonna lie. I know. That's why I love Seattle. Seattle's my second home. Like, legit, if it wasn't for Washington sales taxes, I would literally live up there if I could. I'm not, honestly not kidding. If it wasn't for sales taxes, I'd actually legit like think about like, you know what, if I had to like live anywhere that wasn't Oregon, it'd be up there. It'd be out in Seattle in the greater, Seattle metro area. Like dead ass. It would be that. It'd be between Portland or Seattle. Like honestly, I find my nestling, between that shit because like everything in between is also my home. The Gorge, the Pacific Northwest broader, and then, like, got, like, the whole Cascade Mountain Range, which Washington has that, too. So it's, like, I mean, like, Seattle literally is, like, a second home. The thing that they do got us on is the Puget Sound. They got the fjords and all that shit. They got, like, the ferry stuff. They're pretty close. They're closer to Canada. So they got, Seattle's got a few flexes on us that, I just can't argue with. I will grant that, but... average house prices are double what it is here. And yeah, that's another reason why I'm not living in Seattle. Because housing is retardedly absurd. It is insane. It's psychotic. Like, I would literally have to, like, do what I'm doing now for my job and on the top of that, make money doing this and have, like, 100 plus viewers, in order to actually fucking justify living there. So I would have to work full-time doing basically what I'm doing and hope the fuck it's a union job so I can make a little bit more than what I normally would. And then have somehow, like, a way bigger thing going on here and get the fucking cosmos aligned to that shit and be able to make money doing this or something. It's like, that would be the only fucking way I'll be able to do it. And even then, that would be, like, fucking pushing it. Like, I wouldn't be able to, like, go to shows or, like, invest in stuff or, like, save up really necessarily. Maybe do something else. Or hustle doing something else. OnlyFans. What, you think that's it? What, you think I'm kidding? Because I'm not. Like, I mean, OnlyFans even? I mean, fuck, bro. Like, I mean, there's one thing about the West Coast that, that there's a mentality that you gotta have. The hustle. You gotta have that hustle mentality when it comes to the West Coast. California, I think, is the number one fucking state where you have to hustle. Washington is number 2. Oregon, you got a little leeway. You don't really have sales taxes. There are certain things that aren't really as bad around here. But, like, at the end of the day, though, like, it's still shitty. Like, you still gotta hustle. You have to hustle. Like, the West Coast, period, you gotta hustle some way, shape, or form. And if you don't, you're going to be, your ass is grass. I have no idea what Zoomer millennials want to do for work. Honestly, for me, just art. If I really had to, like, pick, just art. Music, lyric writing, story writing, just drawing stuff, shit like that. Making album covers and stuff, like, just art. Honestly, just that. It's so vague as fuck, I will admit, but considering, like, a lot of the local, like, punk / art alternative scenes that are around here in Portland, it ain't hard for me to get into that. I mean, honestly, I'm already partially into that because, like, I've talked to a lot of these different band members and told them, like, yeah, I upload, different stuff. I try to, like, publish, different local bands around here out there on the internet, just put that shit out in the ether and stuff. I'm not like an official publisher or nothing, obviously, but, hey, I'm an advertiser in a sense, in that logic, I guess, in that sense. So it's like, I at least, try to push that out, at least in that sense. But, I mean, it could be, but there's money, that is made in that, though. Like, there are people that actually make fucking money doing that shit. On top of, being, like, producing stuff or, like, making, music or writing lyrics and shit like that. I mean, there's a, like, it's like the biggest struggle, especially career wise, is like, the struggle of, like, the artist career. But I mean, in a weird way, it's probably in the most fruitful, at least in the sense of just feeling satisfied of creating something and knowing that, like, there's a total, like, creative control in that. And you're not just doing what's told to make something produced, or whatever. It's like, you need to do this in order to make sure we produce this amount of X and blah, blah, blah in these units. Did you produce enough of these units there, buddy? And all this other bullshit. It's like, fuck that. Ugh. It's gross. All that stuff's so saturated, I think it's tough hustle. Oh, for sure. Like, you literally have to know people or, like, get lucky. You know, and if not, like, you're just going to suffer. Because the only real way to, like, you know, recognize that and not suffer it is just do it for fun. Which is what I do. I just do it for fun. I don't really give a fuck if I have like 1,000 people or one, you know, or 3 people watching, you know? It's like, I just do it for fun. And if it ends up blowing up, then it does, you know? But if not, then whatever. You know, I just do it for fun at the end of the day. You know, it's like, because even if there's like not necessarily anyone here, I can figure out a way to like, you know, just kind of push it forward and at least make something out of it. It's not impossible for me. I mean, honestly, when it comes to like daydreaming or making shit up and just like yammering off endlessly, I could literally do that by myself and just be like, yeah, no, I could just do that naturally. Like, it's weird, but I will literally make up like a whole fucking like storyline of fiction of like some random shit out of my ass and just like make a whole fucking like equivalent of what should be like chapter 5 in like some deep fucking novel that's like 18 chapters long or something. It's like my brain will literally daydream shit like that, and I will verbally just start like adding dialogue to this random story I'm daydreaming. Like I do shit like that. I'm being honest. I do stuff like that. It's a little weird. It's probably the Spurg in me, but I do that. Like I will literally be like, I got this cool little world in my head. I'm going to start blabbering dialogue or something, you know, out of it. It's like, I don't get it, honestly, but I do it. But a lot of that is just like the yearning for, you know, just wanting to, you know, like puke out that fucking artistic, you know, endeavor in a way. And also for me, it always ends up being the same shit too. It always ends up being like the same world and the same kind of like shit. So it like my brain always wants to go back to it for some reason. And honestly, I think that is just a sign that I need to like make like maybe like a novel series or something. And I actually have recognized this before, and I do have like some book that I've kind of like made a map of and a few other things involved around it, but I would really need to kind of like, you know, go to the beginning of the whole thing to really kind of like establish it or something. Because I always, you know, am making stuff up like that, you know, I guess would technically be like near the end or maybe in the middle of it or some other shit like that. Or maybe near the beginning. But it's all just like all over the place. It's just like, bloop, 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 bloop. So I need to just like, you know, organize it all together eventually. Because evidently it's in my brain. It's in there. It's just wanting to come out, and it keeps coming out. Like, because honestly, for the past, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 fucking years, like every time I'm like daydreaming, it's the same fucking shit. Same fucking thing, but it ends up being like a different chapter of like, you know, what I'm thinking of this whole idea. So it's like, I just got to put it in the fucking pen. I already got some of it, but it's like, I gotta, like, you know, get the beginning establishment of that shit first, because it's getting to the point where it's like, if I keep daydreaming it, I'm gonna start thinking about, like, the book 2, like, the second book or some shit that I would technically want to establish, you know, when it comes to this idea that I'm making in my head, that it's gonna get muddy beyond recognition. And so I think I need to just at least get an outline going or something. See, this is the fucking torture of an artist's mind. Like, you got all these things going on. I got, like, music project ideas I have in my head. I got this whole fucking, like, book idea that keeps, you know, daydreaming in my fucking brain and shit. Got, like, you know, different music stuff in my mind. Like, motherfuck, bro. This is, like, the torture of an artist. Like, seriously, man. Like, I mean, this is why, like, artists tend to be the most mentally, like, tortured fucks in the world. Like, honestly. Like, I mean, the most traumatized people in the world, because like, even if there isn't like a strong struggle in their own lives, like their brain is always like combating and like struggling in their own head. Because, like, oh, you got this, oh, you got that, you got this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and you struggle just to how to fucking get that out there and regurgitate it. Oh my god. Ugh. It's maddening, honestly. It is legitimately maddening. I can see why a lot of artists tend to generally be kind of a little cuckoo. Honestly. Like, I can see why some artists tend to be broken in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not in a bad way or even in a severe way, but just, got something to where it isn't necessarily the same, like, traditional happy-go-lucky path that some people take. And they got, like, the perfect, mindset to really regurgitate that in the way that is a very healthily and very expressive way, but at the same time, to get to that process and get to that result, that in itself is its own torture. Especially if, like, the artist's block, like the writer's block kind of thing. Oh my god. That is, like, the most ultimate fucking form of torture. Because for me especially, I'll have, like, a basic, outline of what I want to do. But then, like, the details of everything get blocked. And it's like, I want to do this. How do I get the details of this? Fuck. Obviously I should do that. Fuck. Nah. Maybe I do this instead. Nah. I'll do how about that? Nah. And honestly, I'll do that so many times. Oh my god, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. I'll be like, alright, I have a premise of what I want to start drawing, and I'll, like, try to start it. And I'll be like, nah, try it again. And I'll, like, barely get anywhere close, and I'll be like, nah. It's an endless thing, dude. It's like that SpongeBob meme. It's like, you know what? I got it! I'm doing it! I'm doing it! That's right! Yes! Yes! Ugh. And then it's just like, the pen rolls off. It's like, alright, let's see what I got so far. And it literally is just but it's like the medieval style the. You got, like, the most detailed T, and then EH, just the. And that's it. That's literally all you got. And you're just like, barnacles! God, that is, like, the most ultimate form of torture right there. It's like, I got some shit right here, and you just really get into the beginning and the establishment and everything, but you forget everything else. And you're just like, well, I got a lot right. No, I didn't. Fuck! It is the worst feeling, honestly. I hate it. I hate it. Luckily, at least one thing I've learned is that when you have that spontaneous, like, creative burst, have a notebook or a pen or something near you. Because, like, when that burst happens, you gotta get it down. You gotta get it down. Because if not, chances are it will literally be a lightning in a bottle. Because I've also had that moment a few times where I'll be like, oh, this is a good lyric. And I'll put it in my head, wink, but then I'll be like, oh yeah, that. Fuck, how did I make that lyric go? No! And then I'll just forget it. So it's like, you can't rely on the memory. You have to have something to, like, save that shit. You gotta have a notebook, the memos on your phone, even, like, make a draft to one of your friends, and text it, but don't send it, just text it and just, like, have it as a draft. Something. You gotta have something to do it. You gotta capitalize on that shit. Exactly. Yeah, you gotta capitalize it. Because, like, I've had too many times where I'm like, oh, this would be great for, like, some lyrics for a song. Or some shit like that. And then I'll just totally fucking forget it. Or, like, maybe a lick. Like, like, or something like that. I don't know. I'm just making some up. But it's like, if it's something like that, record it. Or if you at least know how to write it in sheet music, or at least, something like that, or in tabs, do that. Something. You gotta get it saved somehow. Because if not, sometimes that lightning in bottle is just that, and you ain't gonna remember it again. I mean, sometimes you will, but why risk it? Why risk it, Like, don't risk that shit. Save it somewhere. Like, even if you're just recording it as an audio thing, and just be like, yo, remember this fucking idea. Blah, 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 blah. Just something. Something. You gotta save it somewhere. Just somehow. I mean, because if not, you're gonna forget it. And they're going to feel bad. And they're going to be cool. Because sometimes, maybe that's the $1 million idea. Maybe that might be the $1 million fucking idea right there, dude. And you don't want to lose that. It's honestly kind of why I like doing streams. Because at least there is an archive of it. There's been a few times where there's been some multi-million-dollar ideas said on these streams. And even if I do, technically forget them, I really didn't, because they're on streams. You just have to find the right one, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, that fucking idea, yes! And if anything, because of that, there actually might be like some extra, like, oh, we could add to this. So, at least, whenever there are like some ideas, distilled and like created here, we could at least save them. But the times when I'm not here doing that shit, oh my god, I fucking regret it when I don't fucking like remember it when I should have. That's happened way too many times. Way too many times. And late, in last like month or so, give or take, I've been doing that. And I've been very thankful for it, to be honest. Because, man, there's a lot of like ideas that I did not realize I had in my head that I just need to unleash. And it's like, I think some of them have been like re-remembered in a way, but I just haven't realized it. So I think, it's just one of those things. I just need an outlet to unleash this shit. And I was even telling that with my friend Tyler a little bit earlier tonight. It's like, we gotta sit together and like get some music projects out and shit. Cause I need to like, maybe collab with like you, maybe one of your buddies or, some other shit. Cause I know other musicians at this point. I just need to like legit, like get down with these people and just like get some time set aside to maybe like, start something like this. Cause I already got like plenty of ideas in mind. And considering how vibrant the local punk / metal scene is around here anyway, it would not be hard at all. Not hard at all. And where the fuck is our music, by the way? We need more music. There we go. The silence is starting to drive me nuts a little bit. Just take some focus. That's the thing. For me, it's not the focus, it's the time. And I got no time. In fact, I honestly have less time than ever. It's so fucking annoying. I hate being I love being like the blue collar labor guy that I am, but at the same time I hate having to be that. At the same time, because like holy fuck, I want to be that voice, but can I get out of it, please? Like fuck. Because no one should have to like grind so much to just survive. I'm lucky enough to be in you where I can do these little slightly extra things here and there. Go to karaoke bar, do stuff like this, and not really necessarily worry about like the lights turning off or whatever and shit. There's been a rare few times where that has happened, by the way. But, it's just like, I'm lucky enough to where I can at least do this for, at least at minimal as a hobby and just for fun. And not really have to worry about like, oh, can I pay the rent next week, because I miss out a little bit of sleep or some shit and I'm late like by 20 minutes. Luckily I don't have to worry about that as much. But like, I'm privileged and lucky enough to fucking have that. So many motherfuckers out there that are probably just as creative, if not probably more creative than my ass, are out there working more of a fucking grind than me. And it's like, shit, man. If they, had the time to really, put their shit out there, they probably would have, like, at least enough of, like, fan base or, like, enough people following them to where they could probably make a decent little living. I mean, look at, like, TJ, Scotty, and Paul, for example. Like, they have a small, well, in comparison to a lot of YouTube channels / like, podcasts or, and channels and shit that exists out there, like, they're relatively, like, on the smaller end of things, but, like, they are able to make a decent living and be comfortable. And if anything, people like Paul are able to, like, move out to, move and potentially even own a home and shit. And, not only just, have enough money to do that, but even then some a little bit. They're not like, rich ass motherfuckers, but at least they have the ability to do that because of people like me. Because, I, love their content enough to where I'm willing to crowd fund their shit in a way. And that's how they survive. Not just survive, but just, live comfortably. It's their career. And it's like, and that type of shit is, like, something that I think a lot of people could at least, even if it isn't necessarily like, having a nice big old house and maybe having, whatever the fuck, a nice little garden and shit. Like, I mean, people should at least make at least a, a decent, nice little living to where they can at least achieve that type of living, in the sense of being able to explore those creative endeavors that they want to achieve. And if people want to follow their shit for that, then hell yeah. And if not, whatever. It's like at the end of the day, it should just be about the, the time to be able for people to explore that. And if people get big off it, then they do. And if not, then whatever. I mean, at least they're able to, explore those creative adventures of their own. And, people will, and people will get to, crawl to that. And, well, not crawl to it, but, they'll seek it out. They'll find it. If, like, it's not like it's impossible to find. I've seen so many cool, like, niche little artists, not just online, but even in my own community, just looking for it, or just, like, talking to people. I mean, shit, there's been plenty of times where I found, like, old-ass, like, long-standing artists that have been out there doing their thing for a long time, just talking to people. Like a Fishbone, for example. Like, the band playing in the background. Like, I didn't know about them until I was talking to Steve, the trombone player of Los Malblatos. Like, the ska band in Portland that, has been around for, like, for, like, a little over a year. I mean, it's like, I would never know about this band, which is honestly insane for me, because my dad is a fan of them. I never knew that until I was like, hey, I'm about to go to Fishbone. You want a ticket? He's like, I love Fishbone. What? So I was like, okay, I'm buying you a ticket. Fuck you. You're coming with me. So it's like, I was like, oh shit. I mean, so I would have never known of them. Even my dad never mentioned that. Like, I knew about the Dead Kennedys because he was a huge fan of them, but never told me about Fishbone. I was like, what the fuck, bro? I had to find that out by some other means, just because I had enough time and, and luckily the money, because of the job that I work, being a union job, be able to, explore that shit. To have the time and the means to actually do that. And even though I'm, the work that I do is frankly, kind of shitty and stuff like that. I mean, it really just shows how much, like, a union really does make a fucking difference. It really does. Because, like, there's a lot of jobs, that are out there that are pretty much the same exact job that I work that are so much more fucked just because they don't have that basic protection. And I've heard the stories, too. And it's like, oh my god. And frankly, a lot of the stories I hear about, from the non-union workplaces, from these type of places, like honestly, most of the shit that I do when it comes to work, I would have been fired a long time ago. I want to not, have the long-standing job that I do, at this point. And honestly, I know for a fact that, like, in the beginning, it would have been because I was just a kid. I know for a fact that, like, if it wasn't for a union, and at that time, I didn't recognize that and I didn't realize it yet, but I was, but got lucky a little bit at that time because I was like, oh shit, like, I got late a little bit, or, like, I hate having to, like, stay until, like, midnight or 1 in the morning, because of all this other shit and blah, blah, blah. And it's bullshit. And I was like, what, fuck this, And there's been times where I literally would write, like, a note saying I just quit, fuck this, and all this other bullshit because of stress. And they'll be like, no, come back, and blah, blah. And even the union would be like, no, we'll defend you. And they will even hit me up and be like, no, we'll defend you. Like, we'll even, like, find a way to help with compensation and shit. And this is even before I got labor active. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll stay with the job, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, it was honestly, it was about like around the COVID era, once I started really realizing that power, I was like, oh. And then I realized in hindsight, like, oh shit. Like, the reason why I have the job that I have still, especially after all this other bullshit, is like because of that. And it made me think, oh, like, what other shit is around this? What other, stuff, really comes around this? What's the history behind it? And it wasn't just that. I mean, like, there was a few other like factors and elements that kind of played a role that kind of were the domino effect to it, but it made me realize, like, oh shit, there's a rich history behind this, and there's a lot of stuff to learn, and it kind of brought me to where I am today with that. Now, if anything, like I like a lot of my talks, end up finding its way around that. At this point, around the whole like labor argument. Because if anything, now, especially from what I've learned, especially from like when I first started working, even before I started doing work, and and afterwards, and from now, it's like it really is like the linchpin and like the rising time that does raise all ships in a way, especially when it comes to like make sure people's general like time, well-being, and their comfortability of life is sustained, so they can achieve like some sort of artistic or some fun adventure that they want to get into, whether it's music, basket weaving, knitting some quilts, or whatever the fuck, whatever it happens to be. Either way, it's an artistic adventure, and there's a lot of people with that mindset. And it's like, and how many people are repressed from that? How many people are like suppressed from that idea and that ability to explore themselves? And not just that either, but just also like the smart people too, like the scientists, the philosophers, and like a lot of these other individuals out there that like have been like technologically like imperative to like changing how like human society functions when it comes to certain technology. Like, how many people who could potentially be those type of motherfuckers are repressed because they have to work that 9 to 5 and can never get out of it. I mean, that's why that is such a rising tide, at least in my opinion, because like when you have an ability for different people to at least have an opportunity to explore those things, they can these people can have such a major influence on like how the world can work and move forward. Like, there's like what fucking 8+ million people on this goddamn planet, and what, like, the most of these people are just incapable of that bullshit. I guarantee you, at least half the people on this fucking planet have like some sort of crazy like cool idea that can influence humanity in one way, shape, or form. If they just had the time, the means, and the ability, and maybe other people to help them, like, actualize something like that. I mean, why do you think a lot of these underground art scenes, whether it's music or otherwise, exist? It's like, I mean, in these countercultural scenes, because like there's a yearning and a calling for it. There's like 2 or 3 crayflies flying around. Let's see if I can cat one. Oh, there's one. I see the photos of the rain. I see the photos of the rain. I see the photos of the again. Whoa. Hey, Saturdays. I hate these sunless Saturdays. So, What little fun things are going on for tonight? Enough of my little ramblings. I'm doing an hour ramblings. Might as well let's see what little fun things are happening for the evening. If there is anything, I mean, it seems like the YouTube or the news in general is as slow as fuck today. Oh, there's actually a community poll. These things are saying. Which one is most likely and why? We'll travel faster than light, mind uploading, immortality, time travel will be possible, teleportation. Lately, yeah. I mean, it's not like what's weird is that like there's honestly like a lot of stuff that has been happening, but the news in general does not want to really like talk about that much. But yeah, right, let's see. Which one is most likely? FTL, mind uploading, or immortality? Which I don't know why those are technically the same. Because immortality and mind uploading are different things, I would think. Time travel will be possible, teleportation. I would say faster than light. Like, traveling faster than light would, I think, is more likely. And the main reason why, because, like, mind uploading, unless, like, there's, I don't know, like, a successful, like, Neuralink / like, quantum, like, mind meld, like, technology of some sort, I don't really see that being a thing. Time travel, I'm pretty sure there's literally a paradox on that in itself. Like, because, what is it? Like, theoretically, we could travel, like, forward in time, but not necessarily back in time? Or some shit? I don't know what because also just like the grandfather paradox, if you travel back in time, then technically you're making multiverse or like or some shit, depending on what you change, you know. So it's like that seems like honestly like a possibility. And teleportation, like theoretically, it's possible, but the idea of like teleporting a whole human or like a whole body or macro thing, like, I mean, from what I understand, we have teleported like protons and like particles before, you know, but not like full on like macro or like, you know, multicellular / multi-atom things. You know, so I would say faster than light is the most likely, just on the virtue. Oh my god, dude, the poll results are insane. Okay, hold on, we gotta show this. The poll results are insane! What the fuck is this? 12% think faster than light is more likely. 69% giggity think mind uploading or immortality is more likely. Time travel is at 6%, and 12% thinks teleportation is more possible, you know, than anything else. What the fuck? How's time travel that low? Dude, like, what the fuck? Hold on. Okay, hold on. Like, I'm pretty sure we are, like, more closer to that than any of these fucking things on this list. Get back here, bitch. Okay, there we go. Like, warp drive, book it, done. The warp drive! Ion engines, even. Like, isn't it theoretically, like, ion engines could potentially go FTL, like, given enough energy propulsion and stuff or some shit? Because you don't necessarily need, like, actual, like, fuel, so to speak. You just need ion energy and shit, right? Like, so, like, there's theories of, like, being able to travel faster than light where technically it could be possible. You know, nothing can go faster than light. Theoretically, as it stands right now, from our understanding of the laws in the universe, yes. But, I mean, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean it isn't impossible. Like, there are theories that make it likely and at least a possibility, but we have not, you know, made that an achievement. Because, yeah, we need quantum entanglement and we need quantum physics, you know, to understand that. Like, that's kind of really the linchpin of understanding FTL travel is quantum physics. That's what we need, and we're kind of getting on the road of understanding that a little bit. But we're not there yet. Mind uploading, though? Dude, I swear to fucking God, these are the Elon Musk simps, dude. The Elon Musk simps, saw this and were like, Neuralink, bro, mind uploading. I swear to God, these had to be the Elon simps. Because Neuralink ain't this. That ain't it, chief. Goddamn, bro. I don't think mind uploading is, or immortality, because that's in parentheses for some dumb reason. I don't really think that's getting close. Because you can upload your mind, but that isn't uploading your consciousness or thus your sentience or your life. That's just uploading your brain and your, the information that is in your brain, which I guess would be your life experience and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that your consciousness or your sentience or you as a being goes with it. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know why there's so many fucking people that are saying that. I don't get it. I feel like FTL travel is genuinely way more closer to reality than uploading your mind, which can lead to immortality. Because again, why is it in parentheses? If it was just mind uploading, oh yeah, I can upload your consciousness, then yeah, I would have voted for that. But immortality is in there for some reason, and in parentheses. That's the only one that's in parentheses. So it's make me think, what the fuck? What else is going on? What's it implying? It's making me imply that, your literal, conscience, or, what makes you as a mind and as an individual is uploaded, and thus you as an individual, as you are, is as well. And it's this ain't the Matrix. Maybe that's a possibility. Maybe. But that's never been done. So how in the fuck are we going to know that? And also, even if that is the case, how do we know that, you is going to be the one that's uploaded? How do we know that's just not technically a copy of you? Same with teleportation, by the way. That's a theory that's been mentioned before, even with Star Trek. It's every time you teleport, that's technically you dying, and because all of your genetic and atomic material of who you are, every atom is split to travel somewhere else, to reform back into who you are. So you're technically dying and resurrecting every time you teleport. There's a theory about, the Star Trek teleportation, of that. Because there's been a few times where it's fucked up, and it's even been in the movies where that's happened, where it's oh, yeah, you can technically die from teleporting. So it's even in Star Trek, it's even, questioned when it comes to teleportation and whether you are technically alive during the entire time or whether you're technically dying and then resurrecting or some shit. It's even in Star Trek, it's kind of like that. So how do we know you're not technically dying and then you're just having another life being reborn and you're just being reincarnated technically? Teleportation seems kind of far-fetched because, unless you're going for, some sort of weird, wormhole or something where you're not being, atomically separated, basically, unless that's, I don't know, teleportation seems a little way beyond far-fetched just on that virtue alone. Because we can only do it with, protons and shit like that. Because we have done that, in the past with, protons and, single atoms and shit, but never with, full-on multi-atom / multicellular beings. And frankly, it seems like that is impossible. Or if it is, then technically the teleported being would die and thus reborn as something different when it teleports on the other side. That's kind of the theory around it. So if you were to teleport somewhere, even with the Star Trek, teleportation logic, you technically would die and then be reborn. Because every atomic being of you is literally separated so it can transfer somewhere else at a very like faster than light kind of speed kind of shit, so it can reattach itself into your own original form again, and thus get reborn. It's a fucking weird logic, and honestly, it's kind of a mind fuck if you think about it. So maybe it's actually better to not think about it so much, because it really is a mind fuck. Are you technically dead or alive the entire time, or is it just a moment of like, or is it like a coma stasis? It's a little bit of mind fuck right there. Fuck you, Mickey. I heard you. Little shit. At least you're the only one in here again. Oh, fucking asshole. I still can't believe that like 12% thought that FTL was going to be the most likely. I figured more people will honestly would think that, because I don't know, am I wrong? Like, I feel like that is like the most closest technology that we're going to hit, you know, so to speak. Because, I mean, we've gotten not like there, but relatively close. Like, I will say this at least. Like, the mind uploading thing and the FTL, you know, shit. I think those are the twoest things I think we're the closest to. I think FTL speeds, like, are probably the closest, but mind uploading with the parentheses of immortality, so thus living forever, I think that's way farther off. And even then, this shit's far the fuck off. Not without harvesting huge amounts of power. I'm talking about like building a giant solar shell around the sun, Dyson sphere. Dyson spheres, dude. You understand what faster than light implies? A lot. But so does mind uploading. I mean, that kind of applies a lot too, because it implies that you will still live. And thus, like, still be able to be conscious and be immortal or something. You know? So, like, I mean, if it wasn't for the immortality fucking thing right there in that goddamn poll right here, like, I would say something totally different. But the idea of, like, living forever and being mind uploaded, I think that sounds literal science fiction. FTL, at least, is genuinely theoretical. Like, there's at least theories about that. Mass cannot travel at the speed of light. At least as far as we know for now. Until we can understand quantum physics and more about the laws of the universe, you know, over time, maybe that might change. I mean, you know, so, like, we have to consider our limitations of the human understanding of science as well when it comes to, like, cosmic science with things like this. I mean, the human brain is very limited about these things, unfortunately. So, I mean, we're still figuring these things out. We're still trying to figure out fucking dark matter and shit like that, and dark energy and stuff. Right? We're still trying to figure that shit out. How's the closest text unachievable? Because I feel like I guess just from my assumption, like, I'm not obviously some fucking expert about this, but at least from my assumption, given these 4 specifics here, like FTL speeds, immortality, mind uploading, time travel, or teleportation, like, I would think that FTL speeds at least is theoretically more likely than any of these things, scientifically at least. Just because of at least the different theories and the different possibilities of how to achieve things, you know, of that, depending on, like, you know, what technological advancements were to happen. Like, when it comes to maybe, like, bending, you know, like, you know, the space around us with, like, different, you know, like, like, kind of, like, warp technology, you know, like, with warp speed and things like that. Maybe, like, figuring out, the abilities of, like, artificially creating, like, wormholes or tunnels, or finding those and being able to understand how to traverse those and where they go and shit. You know, or whatever, like, if we figure out, like, if there is, like, kind of an end on the other side of wormholes and shit. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things about, you know, honestly, about the general broader universe, especially when it comes to, like, you know, physics of certain things that we still haven't completely understood until we were, like, to send somebody there to be like, well, figure out. We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens if we put a human in a ship through this. You know, let's see what happens. You know, like, until we actually have, like, an actual thing to survey or, like, study these things, I mean, there are certain elements about a broader universe that we're just not going to be able to understand. Like, for example, like what's inside a black hole. We're never going to understand that shit unless we had an ability to get something in a black hole, but also to get it back out, or at least get information out of that, which, as far as we know, is impossible because a black hole will literally suck everything out of it, and there's no way for something to escape it. So unless we have some fuck you black hole technology to circumnavigate that, we'll never know what's inside a black hole. And that's like one of the biggest mysteries of the universe right there. It's like, what the fuck is a black hole? Like, we understand, the general idea of how it works and what goes on around that. But surely, what the fuck is it? Like, what is going on with that son of a bitch? What's inside of it? What's on the other side of it? Is there another side of it? What's going on with that thing? Like, well, what is it fundamentally? Like, we know how it works. It absorbs and just sucks up everything and all light, all material, and just like, it's like, just absorbs it all. Like, everything and anything in its path. It's like, fuck you. It's like Kirby, dude. It don't care. It will eat everything. It's the Kirby of space. It's Kirby of the universe. All the Kirbys of the universes are the black hole, dude. And it's like, but truly though, what the fuck is it? Like, what truly makes a black hole, fundamentally? And, like, what is on the other side, if there's an other side? What, like, is at the center of them, if there's a center of them? Like, what truly, like, is the nature of a black hole? Like, is it just, like, is it just, like, like, I mean, really, honestly, like you said, like maybe an entrance to like a quantum element of our own universe. Like, is it, just like a consumer of matter that becomes like an antimatter energy of some sort, or an anti, or a dark energy of some sort? Like, I mean, what is it fundamentally? I mean, there's a lot of things about black holes that we don't understand. I mean, at least I sure shit don't. I mean, but at least, from what I've understood from what scientists have said about it, like, there's a lot of mysteries about it. There's a lot of material out there you can learn from. Oh, yeah. I mean, because I've learned from the little that I have learned about these things, it's just like, there's plenty to learn still. I mean, especially with these things. And honestly, I bet maybe what I'm asking, maybe there are some answers to it. But at least for black holes specifically, it's definitely one of the more bigger mysteries of the universe. And yeah, we definitely do know a lot about it. We, like, what was it, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Like, we got one of the first recorded, like, pictures of a black hole, and shit, which is, like, the coolest fucking thing ever. I mean, it's like, they definitely are a major fascination of humanity because, like, our galaxy is centered around it. Every galaxy is, like, there's all, and even then, there's, like, other black holes that are just, like, just kind of scattered everywhere, just doing their own thing. And they're just, like, 2019, yeah. 2019, oh shit. So just before COVID. But yeah. It was such a cool picture, too. Imagine, like, some of the other pictures of black holes that we'll eventually, get in the future. Because that was just the first one. I mean, I guess, I guarantee you, like, in the future, we're going to probably get a few other ones. And they're going to be so cool. I can't wait until we see a fucking supernova, bro. I swear, like, in our lifetime, we're probably going to see a supernova in our night sky. It's probably either going to be a northern star or Betelgeuse. I kind of hope it's Betelgeuse because it's closer technically, but also I've heard for a while that it's either theoretically has already went supernova or is about to, and if it already did, then chances is we'll probably see it go supernova in our lifetime. And I so badly hope I do. I really hope I do. Because, oh my god, to see that motherfucker go off and, like, see our night sky, like, lit up for days, for, like, 3+ or 4 days or some shit because of, like, this because of some intense, like, solar cosmic shit going on. Bruh. Imagine, like, the ancient humans and, like, Renaissance era people and stuff like that when they saw shit like that. Because I know that's happened in, recorded history where it's like people saw, like, supernovas and stuff of, like, some star or some shit, and they're like, what the fuck? Whoa, what is this? It's like, fuck, dude. I can only imagine. People in Portugal and Spain got lucky not too long ago because those motherfuckers had an asteroid, like fucking come down on Earth, and it was like the most fucking beautiful thing in the world. The most beautiful thing in the world. There's like two infamous pictures. Like, there's one of them of this like one girl who was like about to make like some YouTube TikTok thing or whatever. And then, like seconds after she like went down and was like, hey, what's up, guys? It like whoosh, the light, the night sky lit up. She was like, whoa. And just the frame of like the asteroid going back and her just watching the entire time. And then looking back at like the streak that just stayed, in the night sky after it passed and just went back and went, she just had this look of just sheer like, the raw human, like, whoa, bro, kind of look. It was just amazing. And there was like another chick that had like a very similar video, but at a different angle that was like the same way. And she was on her balcony and she was like, hey, what's up? What the? Whoa. She kind of like did that. And it's like, and there's a few compilations where it shows that. It's like, dude, those lucky fucks. There's something about like, something falling from Earth and just like, just streaking across the night sky where just like it releases that id in you where just like it shuts everything down and you just have this like Neanderthalic like wonder and awe of like oh kind of look. It just shuts everything down and you just can't help but just go in this wondrous awe mode. At least it ain't like that meteor in Russia where it fucking like actually crashed into the planet. The Choblansky meteor, I think it was called. Honestly, even that in itself was fucking wild, bro. Early in the morning and all of a sudden, like, all these Russians, like, early in the morning going to work, waking up, all this other shit, and all of a sudden, just this fat fucking fuck you meteor just, like, destroys everything. I mean, not destroys everything, but, like, shatters all the glass. Just all these, like, Russians with their dash cams, like, Suka Brit! Oh, shit! Just, like, just watching this big fat fucking meteor, just, like, zoom! I remember that, dude. That was legit, honestly. Dude, like, that was, like, outside of the, meteor that happened in Portugal and Spain not too long ago, that was probably, like, the biggest, like, memorable, like, whoa moment of, like, an asteroid, coming down on Earth. That one actually did some damage. The one in Portugal and Spain didn't, because it was just a very big, fantastic light show, and I'm assuming it probably blew up over the English Channel or something. Because it usually happens with a lot of meteors and asteroids that fall for the Earth. They either, like, will burn out in the stratosphere or will eventually kind of, like, blow up over, like, an ocean or something and just scatter off and burn off, like, a few miles above the Earth and shit. Usually that's what happens. But every now and then you'll get one that, gets pretty close, like the Chiblansky fucking, meteor, where it just, like, explodes and shatters, like, glass from, like, hundreds of miles. That's also why I love kind of looking up in the night sky sometimes, because I always think there's going to be, like, some meteor that's going to, like, fall through the sky, and I'm going to be, like, looking up and seeing it when it pops, bro. Because that's happened a few times. That actually has had happened to me before. It's like walking back from work once, and I saw, like, a meteor just, like, stoof, like, make this big, like, entrance, and like you had this like big flash, and then it had like this little teardrop, like perfectly like yellowish white, like beam, and then it had one more little flash of like red, and it was just like this big red, like this perfect little red dot, just boom, creaming across the sky, and it was still daylight too. It was like the sun kind of have set by this point, like, and it was still like dusk basically, so still pretty, daylight, pretty well lit for the day. And if I had to take a guess where the meteor was, like it probably was like streaking across like California, like Arizona, New Mexico, California area a little bit, because it was like from where I'm at, it was probably about like, I don't know, if I had to take a guess, maybe if the horizon was right here from where I was walking, what would that be? Like 30 degrees. So yeah, probably, I'm pretty sure that meteor was probably, streaking across the Midwest a little bit. Well, not the Midwest, but at least like a little bit of the, kind of like Southwest region a little bit. I know that meteor blew up over the Pacific, though, because I did see a few other things about, like, oh shit, did anyone see that meteor from, like, California and Oregon and stuff like that? And some people, I think from Hawaii, I think mentioned that they saw, like, a few smaller little meteorites, kind of, like, branched off a little bit. So from whatever it was, like, it was really high up, and it was streaking for a while, and eventually like blew off. But I didn't see that. But apparently some people in Hawaii kind of saw that, and eventually just like kind of burned off. Like over there, for them. But it was like on the east side, like really off in the horizon a little bit, because it kind of like saw this like kind of like this like multi kind of branch like explosion kind of thing. But then it just like dissipated a little bit. And when I saw some stuff about that, because I looked it up, I was like, meteor over West Coast, and like, and within, like, I didn't see any real news article about it, but I did see a few Reddit posts over it, online. I was like, oh, is this the same thing? And some people, actually mentioned it. And I was like, oh fuck, I ain't the only one. Especially when it came to like how intense it was, and I had to tell my coworkers too, because like I saw that like it went from right here, like when it did its whole like big old like zoom and went streaking, and about halfway, like where actually I was kind of looking directly ahead, that's when it went like a perfect red dot, and it just went boom and just kept going until I couldn't really see it because of the tree line. I could see it all the way until it went past the tree line. I actually tried to run up ahead and kind of get past the tree line a little bit, but I couldn't because I wanted to see it more. And I would try to get my phone out too, but I just couldn't, but I never got it out in time. So I was just like, fuck. Because it was so cool. And I've seen a lot of really cool meteor showers and stuff, but that one meteor just going across like that like is stuck with my mind more than a lot of the meteor showers I've seen before. Because I've seen some really cool, memorable meteor showers, but that just one little thing, really stuck in my head more so than any of that shit, honestly. Because it was just such a spur of the moment. Like, there was no reported, oh, there's going to be meteor showers tonight. Nothing like that. Just nothing. I just happened to literally just be looking up at, the dusk, thinking, oh, Jupiter, I could kind of see it right there a little bit, and see any other stars or anything, popping out yet. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just was right there. I just happened to be looking up at the right time. I just happened to be looking up at the fucking sky at the right time, the right place, and everything. Like, it just was perfect coinkydink shit. And honestly, like, that's why, to this day, I always usually will do this at night. Like, I always, usually will look up at night. Like, just do this a lot of times. Just to either look at stars or just on the happenstance I might see something like, straight across the night sky. Because I always get taken aback by shit like that every time. Even if it's just like probably like some stupid debris that we've left up there and has eventually found its way back into the atmosphere and burnt away or some shit. Even if it's some stupid shit like that, I still get kind of taken aback by it. Because it's like, whoa, dude. There's shit out there and it burns for a night sky. Whoa, dude. Bet you all the other shit that's hit our Earth. Especially with like the craters that you might see on like, you know, the moon. Or like any... honestly, that's what really takes me back. You've got a telescope and you see the moon. And you look at the craters on the moon and you realize how big some of that is. And realize how huge those craters are. It's like, bruh. It's like, whoa. Some of those craters will literally, like, wipe out all life on the planet. Like, legit. Some of those craters will literally, would change the composition of the Earth itself. Like, if you really think about it, it's like, whoa. Really takes you back a little bit. What really takes you back, especially if you have a good, strong enough telescope, is seeing Jupiter and seeing that fucking, that ice storm that it has. Like, seeing that shit, that really takes you back. Because I remember seeing that, and I was like, holy fuck, it's that big, huh? I was like, when I saw, because I've seen Jupiter and seen the little layers of, like, you know, clouds and all the other crazy shit that's going on it. But there was one time where it happened to have its little, like, that little ice storm, its big eye, you know, facing the Earth a little bit. You know, when I looked at its telescope, and I was like, whoa. It really blew me away, because if I remember, I think, like, 10 Earths can fit through that one eye of the storm of what that is on Jupiter alone. And seeing that, you know, through a telescope, it's like, whoa, that is fucking huge. And I could see that. I could see that shit. It's like, whoa, dude. It kind of makes you think, like, what the hell? Like, especially if, like, how intense, like, Jupiter can be with its, like, storms and you know, and all that shit from what we have, of what we do know. And how much of a role it plays in our own solar system, let alone for Earth. Like, its gravitational pull literally has a role on Earth's, like, rotation and all this other shit. It's like, whoa. If that big boy wasn't there, like, Earth wouldn't be the way it is. And at the same time, it's, like, freaky. It's, like, a freaky thing because of, like, how big and, in a weird way, like, you know, intimidating it is. But, you know, it actually, you know, he's our bro. Jupiter is our bro. Because it actually has played such a role for us that there's been times where we've actually, like, studied about, like, different, like, you know, asteroids or meteors or different things that could have potentially have, like, ended Earth. But they end up getting gobbled up by Jupiter because the gravitational pull of Jupiter is so strong that there's a lot of things that technically could have fucked Earth up that, you know, just get gobbled up by Jupiter because he's our bro. Jupiter is our bro. Big boy. Kind of intimidating, but you know what? A lovable one. I love Jupiter. Intimidating, but a great big friendly teddy bear. Just don't get too close to it. These green flies are really having a time flying around everywhere. Are any of them going to come over here? Can you come over here? But oh, there you are. Hey, come back, bruh. Hey, what's up? Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, you landed on me. Look at you. Oh, you flew away. Aw. Oh, you don't want to be my friend? Oh, gotcha. Ooh, I caught him. You're good. Oh, your head's going all over the place. Hey, no. Ah! My little buddy did not like that. He's up there now. What are you doing? You dumb derp. You just fell in the sink. Fucking idiot. Oh, there he is. That is a big crane fly, too. Goofy thing. What are you going after over there? Oh, it flew off. Oh, there it is. Oh, you come back? No. This thing's blindly just flying around like a drunk. She's like, I'm going this way. I don't think this crane fly has any idea where to go. It's going to let it chill with me for a minute, but no, I didn't want that. Didn't want to hang out with me. Turd. What a jerk. What a jerk. It's not like I was trying to be mean. Poor fellow lost his way. I know. For real. They lost their way, bro. You're not a crane fly. Who the fuck are you? Yeah, that's right. Fly away, because I'm about to whoop your ass. It's about to go. I was about to go boom on that ass, but yeah, that's right. I do have the door open over there, so I think that's why I'm having random just flying around. Got some crane flies. Got a moth. I had a moth earlier that was chilling with me, but I just got a random other At least it ain't no fucking housefly. I sort of got after houseflies. I will not stand for that. Yeah. Let's see what's happening. We'll check out maybe like one little thing before we dip, you know? Didn't realize Jimmy Dore is this far gone. Oh my god. The thumbnail shows Candace Owens, but the title says Jimmy Dore. Oh my fucking god. Is this about Candace Owens saying about, like, going away from the cult of science, but wait a minute. Did Jimmy Dore react to it? Or is he also believing this shit too, and he happens to just be in tandem with this? Oh my fucking god. I sort of got... Oh no. Please tell me he did not go this deep. Look, oh no. Dude, I got history with Dore. I got history of Jimmy Dore. Actual history. I hugged this man. I have taken a picture with this man. I've seen him on a live show back in 2019 with this man, of Jimmy Dore. I've seen this man live. I've seen him perform live, damn it, and it's like, fuck. I don't even know where to start, because, like, I think there was a time where he was actually kind of, like, genuine with himself, but then I think he just lost his way. Just like, you know, Marnix was saying, you know, with that crane fly. The poor fellow lost their way, dude. Poor fellas lost their way. Like, you know, like, I don't know. Some people out there kind of think he's always been a grifter. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bias, but I think, you know, he wasn't for a while. But then he became one. Eventually he became one. But, I don't know. I like to think, like, it was pre-2020, you know, when he was actually genuine. But post-2020, he became a charlatan. Mainly because of medicinal science skepticism and vaccine skepticism or shit. Oh, no. Okay, well, you know what? It's been a fat minute since we've delved into the door. I'm pretty sure not a lot of it's going to be about him, since Candace, or Clandis, as I like to call her, happens to be the main person on the thumbnail, but you know what? What's going on, Door? What's happening with him? I have not heard of him in years. The last time I heard of him, he was interviewing Alex Jones, and that shit was hilarious. Mostly because Alex Jones was just being ridiculously unhinged. And very comical. Jimmy didn't really do much, to that interview to really tarnish it. Like, it was just Alex Jones that entire time. But for this, I don't know.
Okay. What are we on about here?
I'm America first. I want to apologize for it. I'm Christianity first. I want to apologize for it, and that upsets some people.
Am I just starting to realize something, or is she kind of like cross-eyed? Or not cross-eyed, but like, fucking... Like her eyes are going different directions? Like the George Latimer chameleon eye? But nowhere near as prominent? Oh my god, you know what? I'm starting to look at the eyeballs. Dude, that eye right there is going this direction. And that eye is looking more this way. Dude, it's like... Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, she has a lazy eye. Not that it's a bad thing, but oh my god, knowing the empty vessel that is Candace, or Clandis, as I like to call her, Owens. The fact that, like, she's such an empty vessel, she can't, like, harbor any facial emotion or, like, tone-age muscle, like, anything, just shows how much of a fake grifter. What the fuck is she wearing, even? Like, this even shows, like, how much of a grifter she is. Like, what the fuck are you wearing? Some weird, like, Amish, like, quilted fucking, like beige-ass fuck. What are you wearing? What is this? What the fuck is she wearing? What? Oh my god. Dude, what is she? Holy fuck. Is this what the right looks at as like a moniker of traditional conservatism? Especially for a woman? Like, is this what women ought to look like for traditional conservatives? Like, wearing, like, baggy-ass, really unfitting, like, brown-ass fucking shitty button-ups? Like, what the hell is this? What fit is that? Why does she have it, like, loosely buttoned? And why does it look like it's also, like, one button above than where it should ought to be? You know what I mean? Like, where you button something and then you realize, oh, I'm actually one button up than I should be buttoning, and have to undo it all. Like, why does it look like that in a weird way? She's a brown shirt. Quite literally! She's literally a brown shirt! She's literally a brown shirt, bro! The only thing she's missing is the fucking armband. Where's the armband? Clutter subtle signaling. You know what? I mean, I think you're right. I think it might be right, bro. I don't want to, like, hyper-analyze, like, the Nazi dog whistle shit, but she is an anti-Semite and has unironically been defensive of Hitler before. So, you might be right, bro. This might be some weird, subtle fucking shit she's doing. But at the same time, where's the armband? If you're gonna go all the way, where's the SA fucking, neck collar, insignias? Where's the armband? Where's the fucking Oberleutnant fucking, shoulder pads? Where's all that shit, bitch? Oh, you want to be a little subtle and be a little clever about it. Fucker. And what's hilarious is that Hitler would literally fucking put her in front line of Birkenau Auschwitz. In the fucking line to the chambers before a fucking Jew. I mean, frankly, just being blunt with that. And even then, if she was so defensive of his ass, she would literally be nothing more than like some intelligence officer in like some sort of like garrison for some fucking village in France. she'll be a part of like some Ethiopian SS regiment or some shit, and be an officer where she'll be discriminated, abused, and probably fucking seen as a laughingstock and nothing more than like some sort of like mascot animal for the fucking SS to mock at with the rest of the regiment, garrisoning, and fucking guarding some random fucking Azula de Alfla Complot, fucking village in the middle of goddamn fucking France and Vichy occupied fucking Nazi France or some shit. Like, I mean, that's all the respect she would ever get. And the worst respect would be in front line, and the next, literally the next person to be in that fucking chamber in fucking Auschwitz. But, she wants to defend anti-Semitism and these fucking Nazi far-right bullshit. And I'm supposed to give her some fucking sympathy when, the fucking, cows come home, like when the, mama cries and shit, when the cows come home. Oh, nah. She ain't getting that fucking sympathy. Fuck her. Fuck that shit.
Because I guess, how dare she have the audacity? Well, guess what? I have the audacity, folks.
I have the audacity of being, like, literally a Nazi without calling myself a Nazi because I'm okay with Hitler, and I spew literal anti-Semitism all the time.
So you're saying that we'll...
Wait, whoa. Jimmy just popped up on screen, and he's saying, so you're saying... Wait. He's responding to her directly. He interviewed her. He invited her as a guest. That's why Jimmy is mentioned in this. Oh my fucking god, he's actually that far gone. Oh no. He's actually gone down that... Oh no, oh my god. He went down to JQ, dude. Oh no, he went down to JQ. Oh my fucking god, he went down to JQ. Oh no, he went down that road. Oh my god. No! I knew you were gonna be a right-wing conspiratorial grifter, but no! You had to go down that path! No! You had to do it! You had to fucking do it, you son of a bitch! Oh my god, and to think I bought your book and had you sign it! Ah! Oh no. I'm selling that on eBay. You know what? That book is being sold on eBay now. I guarantee I'll get some motherfucker to, fucking buy that shit for like $100 or something. I guarantee you there'll be some Jimmy Dore simp that would buy that shit for a lick of a dick of money, dude. Oh my god, dude, especially when it's signed. And I'm not fucking kidding. I got a book at his show back in 2019, and I had him sign it and took a picture of him. With him. His wife, Steph Zamorano, fucking took the picture with my phone. Ah! That's where I met Billy the Fridge and Ben from DP. That's where I met those motherfuckers. Where I saw Jeff Holiday, too. Because they happened to be there, too. I remember that night. Ah! And he's now a Nazi. Fuck! Oh my god. And to think, man. And to think I liked this guy. And to think I liked him. This is why I fucking bit the bullet and watched this. Because, oh my god, bro. I actually like this guy. To like the 90s millennial guy that fucking vilifies Bill Maher and has like this, kind of fucking energy with Bill Maher. That's who I have with Jimmy, bro. I have that fucking same, just like, kind of, I could literally explode over this. Because, like, he was, like, such an aggressive fucking lefty back in, like, from 2015 to 2019 era. He was such a strong fucking aggressive leftist on, like, forcing the vote on, like, saying, nah, fuck the DNC. Like, we can't capitulate to them. We have to, like, stay strong and, like, keep fighting for, like, some progressive of some form. Like, he was that guy. And people hated him for it. And it's just like, and you know what? Fuck, bro. And to think this guy was that messenger for such a long time. When it came to, like, force the vote on a lot of these different issues. Like, when it came to healthcare or, when it came to, that shit or any of these other issues. Like, and now look where the fuck he is. And if anything, all this does is tarnish all these other fucking times in the past, like forced to vote for universal healthcare and shit, and all these other issues. His name now has fucked that shit, and if anything, put more of a soiled name to that shit because of where he's fallen now. It's like, why tie your fucking shit to this, bro? Especially where you actually were principled and actually good for a time. Where the fuck did that go, bro? Where the fuck did it go? Because holy shit, man. You lost your way, Jimmy. You have lost your fucking way. Where's that aggressive progressive that you used to be? Where's that radical fuck you leftist that you used to be, you son of a bitch? You're nothing more than a fucking pawn for the fucking Nazis at this rate. You fuck. And to think I actually respected him. And I respected you, Jimmy Dore. I actually respected you. And now look where the fuck you are. Interviewing a fucking black Nazi that is Candace Owens. Get the fuck out of here. You fucker. You traitor to anything that is remotely close to being principled of like being a progressive or a labor activist or a unionist or a fucking progressive in any fucking form, you fucker. Piece of shit. Like, honestly, people like Voosh or any of these other people don't have, any skin when it comes to having any critique animosity when it comes to Jimmy Dore. Because they never were a fan of this guy. They never were in the first place. I actually looked up to a guy like, I looked up to him before. I actually did. Like, he's like my Bill Maher, so to speak, when it comes to like, this era, I guess. Nowhere near to the same influence, obviously. But he's kind of my Bill Maher in a way. Because to see him fall this far gone, basically being the equivalent of might as well be supporting Trump kind of shit, or I guess at best supporting like, some do nothing fuck like RFK or some shit. It's like where the fuck did you go, Jimmy? Where's that strong, aggressive, progressive gootspa balls that you used to have? Wash out, fucker. Fucking pathetic. It actually genuinely pisses me off. It really does anger me. I could go on forever about this shit. You know what? Maybe I should not have clicked this. Because I've been going on for a long time and we not even got into 30 seconds into this. Because holy shit, man. Dude, I mean, this really does get my goat. Because, like, of how far this fucker has fallen. And he's not even spoken, like, two syllables, basically. He just happened to be there for, like, saying one thing and it got me to pop off. But the fact that he's interviewing a fucking far-right, anti-Semitic, borderline Nazi, if anything, an outright Nazi, and being, and like taking that into consideration and being like, oh, this is okay, and enabling that and platforming that. It's like, holy fuck, bro. And you're not even challenging that. You're just like, okay. Holy fuck. God, man, this...
Ever not be astonished by the fundamental cowardice of the far right that they can never advance their positions. The left, like, often to their own detriment, is often like...
That seems oxymoronic considering the overt shit that they have been saying. Especially Candace Owens. I don't completely disagree, but I feel like that's a little oxymoron considering what the fuck we just heard. Outside of my long-form rant. If anything, he's actually kind of enforcing what I'm invalidating what, I just did, what he's saying. But, like, the right wing at this point are pretty emboldened. They don't give a fuck about dog whistles. They're pretty straightforward about what they say. Like, straight up. Dude, like, even at the bar earlier tonight, I went into one of the bathrooms, because I had, obviously got to take piss, when nature calls, right? And, and someone wrote with chalk, look up Project 2025, and somebody else with, some chalk said, that's scary shit. And I decided to write with chalk, fuck Republicans, this is what they wanted since Reagan, underneath that. Because, because that's kind of what they wanted. Reagan established this far-right Christian nationalism in America, and it's gotten worse ever since. And they've been emboldened and have gotten more powerful ever fucking since. Like, legitimately, every fucking step of the way. And now we're seeing the fulcrum of their power, and they see this as an opportunity to establish and complete that. And that's existential, even for me. But it's a different topic, obviously. But why do you think I'm so critical about someone like dementia, sundowning, shit in his fucking pants in front of the Pope, fucking Peepop poop pants Biden? Why do you think I'm so critical of that? Because you think that fucker's gonna, defeat that shit? Hell no. It's like, so I'm kind of, I've always been screaming at top of, rooftops about, like, he ain't gonna fucking beat that shit. We need someone to do that, and he ain't gonna do it. And now even the DNC themselves and a lot of staffers, and even some, not all, but, some Democrat politicians are even saying this. It's like, and his ass and his, loyalist crowd are saying, no, I'm staying in a detriment to the entire country. Not just like the left, but the entire fucking nation, and frankly, the entire planet. Like when it comes to the far right expanse, in the globe, and when it comes to climate change, and when it comes to like a lot of these, social aggressions and a lot of this rise of the right that's been going on. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to where America goes, the world follows. That's kind of fucking true. Like, why do you think a lot of the rise of the right's been happening in Europe? Because, hey, we just recently had a large rise of the rights, here in America, and still going on. And Europe is starting to kind of follow that a little bit. It has been following that for quite a while. So it's just like, and being way more aggressive about that lately with some of these countries. And if anything, has already been completely established with Hungary, with Viktor Orban, with that crazy psycho bitch who's like a granddaughter of Mussolini, with the fascist party, in Italy. It's like you have a lot of these, places in Europe that are following America and fucking repeating the same fucking steps that the Republicans here started with Reagan. Viktor Orban, adopted that fucking shit and is now telling the modernized version to the RNC how to do that shit. This crazy far-right bitch in Italy is doing the same thing. Fucking Javier Milei doing the same shit. It's like these motherfuckers are all in tandem. It's an international fucking project. It's not just an American project, by the way. Project 2025 is not an American thing. That's an international fascist thing. And it's been going on since the 80s because Christian fascists all over the world have been wanting this since day one. Since fucking Jesus died on the cross, basically, for all we give a fuck as far as we're concerned, right? Because they've been wanting this shit. And people like Jimmy Dore here to bring back full circle, and Nazis like Candace Owens, because I don't give a fuck that she's black. Don't let that distract you. She's a fucking Nazi. She would literally be Sikh Highland with fucking Hitler right in front of her face, and it wouldn't matter if she was going into the camp afterwards. She would be doing that like a loyal fucking dog. She don't give a fuck. Never let that shit distract you. That's the ultimate fucking threat. And I'm supposed to let the DNC or like the Joe Biden, be like the ultimate knight, to fucking combat that shit. He would literally like, give me a break. I would literally take Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, literally any other milquetoast Democrat over that fucker. Because at least they would actually have a chance and actually have an ability to legislate and govern. Yeah, maybe it won't be good. It would be corporate bullshit. But at least they actually have a brain to fucking govern. And actually legislate, and maybe listen to fucking, critiques, that might be levied against them. And actually consider it. And maybe consider it as a part of the legislation moving forward. Gavin Newsom sure shit does. There's been a few times where he's had logs under his ass, and suddenly, out of nowhere, fucking pushing good shit for California as a governor. So if someone, like him could recognize that, like, hey, if I'm being critiqued, maybe I should have people, looking up, for me, and I do stuff for them. Like, there's a kind of a give and take. At least someone like him knows that shit. Biden sure shit don't. If anything, he doubles down and lets his sundowning, dementia-addled ego as an old fuck, as a mummy, get in the way of that shit. Because, obviously I can handle it. I just shit my pants in front of the Pope. What am I going to do, Jack? I'm sundowning. It's like, yeah, because that's supposed to be Trump. As far as I'm concerned, that last debate that happened with those two fuckers, Trump just looked like Trump. Joe Biden literally looked like he was dying. Unironically fucking dying. And Trump literally just looked like stereotypical Trump. Just, yeah, he's Trump. What do you want? He's Trump. He's a fucking piece of shit. Existential fuck. And yet, the guy against him literally looked like he was dying. It probably literally is dying as we speak. And it's like, that's supposed to fucking beat his ass? That's supposed to beat the Nazi, fascist, Republican agenda? Give me a fucking break. Because, man, the threat is real. But are we going to at least have like a fucking shield and a sword that's real to defend against that? Please? Are we going to have that? Because it don't seem like we are.
Too loud about what they actually want, you know? Like, left-leaning officials are usually pretty straightforward about their interest in, like, a proletarian state or whatever, like, whatever varying step they think about, like, they're not ashamed of their politics. Meanwhile, every, like, grinning Nazi is always dog-whistling. Like, what is America first? What is Christianity first?
I don't know, Vosh. Maybe that was true back in 2015 or 2016 even, honestly. But at this time, I don't really think that's true anymore. I mean, maybe to a certain degree, but I just don't really think that's true anymore. Like, the right is very fucking emboldened. Like, they're genuinely just, like, being masked off about what they believe. So I don't really buy this idea that, like, yeah, the left is, like, way more, forward about, like, what they believe. I mean, yeah, they are. I'm sort of shiz forward about what I believe. But the right is, too. In fact, honestly, more so. And if anything, is winning more hearts and minds in a freaky way. Because that's not a good sign. And a lot of that's just because of, I don't know, like, what does the left have to offer? Biden. That's pretty much it. And I say left in quotes because it isn't really the left saying that. But what do you think a lot of these right-wing fucks, think? The left is just pushing this. Oh, the communist Biden. I mean, it's like, we gotta detach ourselves from this shit. It's like, seriously. Because, like, I mean, he don't represent my shit. He don't represent my ass. As a leftist, especially. So, like, I mean, like, yeah, we're pretty, strong about our convictions. But, like, if the right is just as strong as, we are, but winning more hearts and minds, then we're doing something wrong here. The left broadly is doing something wrong. So, what does it say, Voosh? What does that say about that type of shit?
They very rarely explicitly say, of course, because it's meant to be like a signal of association.
Not anymore. Again, this probably was true a few years ago. Not anymore.
Wait, man, Jimmy Dore, huh? Huh? From TYT to, like, weirdo campus anti-Dem party, but to the extent that it assists Republicans, to vaccine conspiracy, to, like, just openly associating with Nazis.
There was a greater whole.
What a great fucking, little train stop, Yeah, I'm gonna take a train stop at TYT. Gonna take a train stop doing my own thing, being anti-DNC and anti-Democrat broadly as a progressive lefty. Then I'm gonna be like a Republican supporting anti-Democrat fuck. Then I'm gonna be anti-vax conspiratorial weirdo fuck. Now I'm gonna associate myself with Nazis at this train stop. Where's the next train stop, Jimmy? Where's the next stop gonna be for your little train ride, buddy?
The Christians that happened.
All right. I guess, well,
Huh?
Okie dokie. All right.
Okie dokie.
To vaccine conspiracy.
Is he talking about, like, Wait, well, hold on. What?
To, like, just openly associating with Nazis.
There was a greater Holocaust of Christians that happened.
All right. A
greater Holocaust of Christians that happened? Wait, what? What the fuck is he talking about? Huh? There's never been a Holocaust of Christians. Even with, like, the Spanish Inquisition and, like, the reactions that caused the Crusades, and shit, or, like, the actions that caused the Crusades or whatever, there's never been... Huh? What? That's never happened! Ever! That's literally never happened! What the fuck is he talking about? What?
Well, you know, okie dokie.
Okie dokie indeed.
I'm saying.
And it was committed by the Bolsheviks. And
What? What's he talking about? What? Oh my god, is he talking about... Wait, hold on. I think I might know what he's talking about. Hold on. Is he talking about Stalin's, like, fucking Great Purge shit? Is he talking about the Great Purge that Stalin did? Because guess what? That guy was, one, you know, not exactly very pro-Jewish at all. He was actually kind of anti-Semitic, for one. So, a lot of his, like, Great Purge shit was actually against Jews. Shocker. And also, for two, like, actually, you know, hold on, before we even get to, continue on to the number one point, you want to know a major prominent Jew that he killed that was actually technically supposed to be, you know, the next in line after Leon or actually I spoiled it, but after Vladimir Lenin was Leon Trotsky. And he was a Jew. He was a Jew born in fucking Ukraine in Odessa. And he was killed in Mexico City with an ice pick because of an assassin hired by Stalin's fucking NKVD. So, like, huh? Like, Stalin was actually more anti-Jewish than anything, you fucking moron! What the fuck are you talking about? He did that. Oh my god, he's nitpicking bullshit? You know, that happened during Stalin's reign in the Soviet Union to fucking make this argument? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. I'm actually about to go insane. Holy shit, I'm about to fucking blow a gasket. Oh my god, this actually pisses me the fuck off because of the insane historical revisionist nonsense and insanity that he's trying to say. What the fuck? Like, this is actual Nazi shit. He's literally saying Nazi propaganda that fucking Nazis said in the 30s. This is literally what Nazis said in the 30s, dude. Like the Jewish Bolsheviks, the Bolshevik Jew, you know, are the reason why the Germanic Christian was exterminated. This is what the fuck the Nazis believed. And this motherfucker, Jimmy, oh my god, he's literally doing this shit. Oh my fucking god. This is actually worse than Bill Maher's fucking shit. Oh my god. Holy fuck. He's actually doing that? Dude, this actually blows my fucking mind. This actually blows my fucking mind. I knew he was a nut at this point. I have not tuned into him in a long time, but oh my fucking god. This is where he's at? Just literally saying 1930s Nazi shit? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck do you say to this? I can't even believe, I don't even know, bro. I'm actually fucking speechless. Like, holy shit. He's fucking saying some shit fucking Heinrich Himmler would be fucking saying. Like, unironically. Maybe more, like, softly, but same shit. I can't even fucking believe it, dude. I honestly genuinely cannot believe this shit out of fucking door. I could believe it out of Clandis, but him? Oh my fucking god, dude.
the leader of them at the time was a Jewish guy.
Mm.
No, he wasn't! Is he actually... Oh my fucking god. Is he saying Stalin was a Jew? Is he actually saying that? Because literally that's not fucking true! Leon Trotsky was, and he was not leader of the Soviet Union at all! He was exiled because of the Great Purge because of Stalin. The supposed Jew, I guess, supposedly, who killed a Jew, I guess. So what the fuck how's that make sense, you stupid fuck? How's that make sense? Are you serious? Oh my god, the historical revisionism is fucking wild. is actually fucking... I don't even think Vladimir Lenin is a Jew. I don't... maybe he is, but even if that's the fucking case, so the fuck what? And even then, Stalin literally took the opportunity of his fucking death to co-opt power and exile the man who was supposed to, take charge afterwards and kill him, who happened to be a Jew. So it's like, how in the fuck does that make sense? Oh, the leader of the Soviet Union at the time, Stalin, who happened to assassinate not just him, but also a bunch of other fucking Jewish people within the Soviet Union. There was the whole, doctor's plot within the Great Purge. Do you want to know about this? Because I know a little bit about this. What happened was, Stalin and a lot of the other higher-ups, after co-opting power during the Great Purge, literally, gathered up a bunch of doctors and fabricated a bunch of bullshit information to say, oh, these Jewish doctors were, going to collaborate and find a way to, basically kill off a bunch of generals and other higher-ups within the Soviet Union and shit. So Stalin had them killed. Because, shocker, they were Jewish. That's the reason why. That's literally the reason why. So where in the fuck is this coming from? Lenin didn't do any of this shit, but Stalin sort of shit did. When it came to collaborating and consolidating and solidifying all of his fucking power, he did this shit. Not as a Christian or a Jew or anything else in between, but just as a fucking autocratic, authoritarian, fascist piece of shit. Because that's what Stalin was. So it's what? Is there some fucking weird, Christian Holocaust happen? Fuck no. It was the political Holocaust. That's what happened. That's what the whole Great Purge was. That's what Holodomor was. Yeah, there was a lot of anti-Semitism in the midst of all that shit, and it definitely played a fucking role. But at the end of the day, it was a political Holocaust for Stalin to solidify and gain all of his power so he could be the main fucking bad bitch of the entire Soviet Union. That's the main reason. Say what you want about the entire fucking thing. That's why. Because Stalin was a paranoid, frankly, arguably probably a schizophrenic fucking psycho that, wanted, nothing more than to consolidate power so he can be the bad bitch in charge. That's it. And he always wanted that shit, even while Lenin was in charge. It was a known fact about him. It was known, even while Lenin was in charge of the Soviet Union, that he wanted that shit. Even Lenin warned even Trotsky and a lot of other higher-ups about this shit. Lenin warned about, Stalin being kind of this psycho. That's why he kind of made him the third in line, so to speak, because he wanted to at least try to, temper that weird shit about him. But it never worked. One of the main flaws about Lenin is letting Stalin get too close to power like that. Because frankly, it fucked, this entire Soviet Union for the rest of its fucking history, honestly, arguably. One of the major flaws, of Lenin, honestly. Because arguably, I think, he was probably the only, decent leader outside of maybe, who was it? It wasn't Gorbachev, it was the guy before him. Khrushchev, I think? It was him and then, one other guy, during, the 70s, around that time, that was actually okay. Because there was, an attempt to actually kind of, at least during the Cold War era, to, kind of give an olive branch to the West a little bit. It might have been Gorbachev, but it might have been Khrushchev as well. I forget which one. It was one of those two. But, outside of that guy, Lenin was probably the only dude who was probably good for the Soviet Union, honestly. Because, he at least had a fucking vision. He at least had, a project and a structure and a plan that didn't involve massacring and slaughtering entire groups and regions and ethnic groups of people and shit, like the Romani, Jewish folk, etc., the Ukrainians, when it came to Stalin. Lenin had a plan that actually was meant to kind of be a broader communist project. But Stalin fucked it all up because he had fascist, autocratic, narcissistical, schizophrenic fucking ideas about grandeur of power. And fuck that piece of shit. I'll never have love for Stalin. Period. Ever. He's a fucking scumbag. And honestly, the idea of calling him a leftist is honestly laughable. Because he's just a fascist. I mean, if you really look at who he was as a leader, that's who he was. He's a genuine red fascist. I mean, when people say that, they're kind of referring to people like Stalin and Stalinists. Like, I got no love for those type of people. Fuck them. Because they're just basically fascists under a different brand. It's like, yeah, we're the alternative brand to fascism. We're not actually fascists. We're just, we're like the, off-corporate brand. Instead of being Coca-Cola, we're Pepsi. It's like, ooh, so exciting.
That's pretty crazy. Do I have to like put effort into debunking this, or can I just say that this is literally straightforwardly word for word objective neo-Nazi propaganda? It's not even neo-Nazi propaganda, it's just Nazi propaganda.
I mean, I kind of been doing that already, so I think we're just gonna laugh at this the rest of the way.
This is what they said then too. It's
true.
It's not even like sanitized and filtered for the modern dog whistle or whatever. It's like all the way back.
Well, Henry Kagoda, what really ran the Gulag camp system. So people should read, if you're interested, Alexander Solzhenitsyn talking about how shocking it was to watch the American president linking arms with Stalin, talking about.
He literally killed Jews, you fucking bitch. Dude, this historical revisionism is actually fucking maddening. I already went off about that, but oh my god. The revisionism is fucking wild. He assassinated a Jewish man who was supposed to be the second in place after Lenin, you fucking cunt. Like, oh my god. Ah!
Putting an end to the
this
Holocaust.
Generally angers me.
In World War II, and Stalin was still mass killing Christians in Russia. I mean,
and Jewish people too, and Romanis, and other fucking people like, oh yeah, because he happened to hit some Christians every now and then. What? That's not supposed to make the difference? Go fuck off.
Absolute nonsense. And you got to take it back all the way. You know, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. They assassinated the Tsar, I think, in 1880.
I wonder.
What? Are you literally too retarded to even understand the historical context of what the fuck you're talking about? The Bolsheviks assassinated Tsar Nicholas in like 1918 or 1919 or some shit. It wasn't in 1890, you fucking psychotic fucking witch. What? This is, I'm about to have a blood vessel burst in my brain. I'm about to have a blood vessel burst in my fucking brain, dude. Oh, what the fuck? 1890. You can't even get your fucking historical points correct. Is she like referencing like Alexander II? Because that ain't the Nicholas family. That ain't the royal family of, like, Tsar Nicholas and shit. That ain't them. That's a whole different royal family, you fucking dumb bitch. Ugh!
It means for Candace Owen and Jimmy Dore to be opposed to the alliance between the Soviet Union and the USA during World War II. I wonder who was on the other side of that dynamic. You know?
Oh, yeah, probably definitely not the Nazis at all.
The unmentioned outsider in this particular exchange.
And then by the time they actually properly took over, I think it was...
Wait, what did she just say?
I think in 1880. And then, you know, the Bolshevik Revolution happened. They assassinated the Tsar, I think, in 1880.
Well, I mean, as long as we're arguing from a position of historical familiarity. It was 1780, actually.
And then by the time they actually properly took over...
I'm pretty sure there was probably an assassination back then, too, but who gives a fuck?
It was around 1910. And so what was going on in...
Is this like some minor historical factoid?
Yes, but she doesn't understand what the fuck she's talking about. Yeah, during 1910, the Bolshevik revolutions didn't happen yet. Yeah, they were probably starting to, like, rumble at that point, but they didn't happen yet. The October revolutions happened in 1917, and then what was it? I think the February Revolution that happened first, I think in 1916, and there was like a little interim government, but it was such a fucking disaster that Lenin, continued to radicalize a lot of the people back, at the time, and led up to the October Revolution, which eventually led to the Russian Civil War against the Reds and the Whites. So it's like, I mean, oh my God, like, how do I know this shit way better than this fucking cunt? Like, seriously. And she's trying to say this, in a way to try to defend Nazi shit. And it's like, and honestly, given my knowledge of this shit, I could probably do a better job than her ass. And I'm not a Nazi. I would fucking, bitch slap their fucking, a Nazi in the face, on the fucking first glance I see one, as far as I give a shit. But I could fucking, make a better argument than these dumb fucks. Like, seriously. Like, I mean, are we fucking kidding me? Like, you can't even get your historical shit right. I mean, if you're gonna make, some historical argument about this shit and reference time, dates and shit, make it fucking accurate. Make it actually, referential and accurate to what the fuck you're talking about. Don't just, guesstimate. And even if you are, at least guesstimate in the more accurate time frame. Like, holy shit, 1890? Are you fucking kidding me? There was no Bolshevik revolution going on in Russia at that point, you fucking psycho. What the fuck are you talking about?
That we're talking about? Are we talking about the assassination of Alexander II? But that wasn't the revolution.
Yeah. Assassination of Alexander II, which was 1881. But hey, you know what? Hey, not 1890. It's not 1890, 1881, March 13th. Alexander II, Emperor of Russia, was assassinated in St. Petersburg, Russia, while returning to the Winter Palace from Mikhailovsky Manege, some sort of fucking bill, I don't fucking know, in a closed carriage. The assassination was planned by the Executive Committee of Novdanya of Volia, People's Will, chiefly by Andrei Zavlobov. Of the four assassins coordinated by Sofia Perfovskaya, two of them actually committed the deed. One assassin, Nikolai Ryskov, threw a bomb which damaged the carriage, prompting the Tsar to disembark. At that point, a second assassin, Ignacy... That's really too close to Ignar. I swear to God, I had nothing to do with it. I swear to fuck, I had nothing to do with it. Your Honor, I had nothing to do with it. I swear to God, I did not have a Russian identity. I did not have a Russian identity at that time. I plead the fifth. I can neither confirm nor deny. And I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that last name. Threw a bomb that fatally wounded Alexander II. Alexander II had previously survived several attempts on his life. Oh my God, he was hated as fuck. He was hated. He had several attempts, including the attempts by Dmitry Karaskosov and Alexander Soloviev at the attempt to ignite, I think, there's a chat in the way, ignite the Imperial train to Zaporizhzhia, which is in Ukraine, in the bombing of the Winter Palace in February in 1880. The assassination is popularly considered to be the most successful action by the Russian nihilist movement of the 19th century. The Russian nihilist movement, huh? I have no knowledge of that, but you know what? I am a little intrigued by that. The Russian nihilist movement, huh? I wonder what that's all about. Sounds like a very radical but philosophical movement in a way, considering that apparently there were some assassinations done by people that affiliated with that movement. So, I mean, I don't know. This perked my interest.
Yeah, that's not the Romanovs.
I mean, who said that, fucking nihilists were just all fuck everything, life's meaningless, bruh, who just gives a shit? I mean, who said nihilists were all about that? Because, I mean, I don't know, bro. like, got that shit going on. It's like, got nihilists being radical, assassinating, royalists and shit, or at least attempting to do so. It's like, I don't know. It sounds like it's kind of like that, like, 80s meme of, like, fuck yeah, life is meaningless, bro, yeah! But that's, like, what nihilism's about. That sounds like kind of what it was about. It's like, fuck yeah, life's meaningless, bomb the Alexander! Oh! It sounds like, that type of shit. It sounds kind of based. Sounds like a movement I can get behind.
What people talk about when they talk about the Bolsheviks. I'm more surprised she even knew about this. Nazis love memorizing and then incorrectly regurgitating minor historical factoids as part of a broader policy of defending the Nazis. Like, they do this with...
That is way too fucking true. Oh my god. I mean, considering that Candace Owens literally was, like, nitpicking random dates and bullshit, to the point that she's referencing the assassination of Alexander II, and even then, she said 1890, not 1880, or 1881 specifically, so even then she fucked it up. So it's just like, even then, like, Nazis and these far-right freaks can't get their shit right. They love to learn about shit like this, but even then they can't get their shit right. It's like, my god, it's fucking embarrassing if it didn't piss me off so much.
The Reichstag burning, or they do this with, like, meandering little details about the gulags or about the Soviet Union or whatever else, where they're
or like, or contemporary wise, in the modern sense, with like, weirdos saying like, oh, there's not like this idea of like, hey, what? You think our system is racist against black people and shit? I mean, come on, bruh. Or like, this idea of like, what? There's like hate crimes against trans people. I mean, come on, bullshit. We're just trying to make sure that, like, sports just still have its integrity or something. They're even in a contemporary, sense, this shit is still happening. I mean, maybe not to the same vitriolic degree, and honestly, that shit is still going on strong. But, like, it's not really happening at the same level. They will still dog whistle this type of shit. Maybe nowhere near as much, depending on what the issue is. But, like, that's still happening. And they'll be pretty fucking overt as fuck about it, depending on what it is. And some of it, they'll dog whistle. It'd be like, well, I think, we should make sure bathrooms are still this, or, we should make sure sports are this way and this way, blah, blah, blah. Or, I just want to make sure immigrants are going through the legal process. Or, so just random shit like that. Or like, well, I don't want them, make sure, like, the entire powers that be control everything. Them. The theys. The thems. What do I mean by that? Well, definitely not the Jews. But, them. Like, I mean, it's fucking prominent as fuck. It's ridiculous. And considering how much of, like, they're not willing to dog whistle anymore about this shit is wild to me, too. It's like, didn't we have, like, the Nuremberg trials and, like, a whole war literally slaughtering these fucking pieces of scum? And what? Like, I actually know this, but it's like, what? We decided to just accept them because, like, they were good for, like, rocket science and shit like that. We could have done that on our own. You know what? If they're a Nazi, fuck a Nazi. Like, should have hung them like the rest of them. Like, oh, what? Because they happen to be a little good with their science or some shit. At least the Russians had a good idea about it. At least the Soviets at least had a good idea. Because, like, either they get executed or gulagged to death, basically, or they cooperate when it came to those fucking Nazis. You know what? Rare fucking W on the Soviets' part. Like, when it came to a fucking Nazi, they had no qualms. In fact, a lot of these fucking Nazis had to work at gulag until the fucking 60s. A lot of these scum, a lot of these fucking Nazis literally had to work at gulag and fucking mine nothing but fucking rock for fucking decades up until the 60s, and even then, that was if they were able to live the entire fucking time. Most of the time, they would eventually die, and succumb to the fucking gulag. But most of them, like some of them, like they might live, to like, be able to get out. Like, and there's a lot of stories about this, about them, getting out of that shit and telling horror stories in the West using that as a way to, like, say the gulags are so bad. But you know what? A Nazi's a fucking Nazi at the end of the day. I could give a fuck if they have to go for that conditions. Everybody else, I feel bad for. Shouldn't happen. But you know what? For a fucking Nazi, you know, maybe we should at least have a couple of them, those gulags, just strictly for fuckers like that. Strictly just for that. Because, what, am I supposed to feel bad for a clan to someone style Nazi or some shit? Fuck no. You goddamn right I would have a fucking gulag set aside for them. Work a fucking rock. Start mining that shit. Start getting some rocks so we can start using that for, like, landscaping and some other shit, you know, for some other infrastructure project or something, you fucking scum. Get to fucking picking that axe. You ain't gonna get any special treatment around here.
Okay, well, here's a tiny little tidbit you didn't know. And then everyone's like, what? I didn't know that. You know, maybe there's some broader point to this I don't know about. But then you learn a little bit more, and it's like, no, this just wasn't the Bolsheviks. That wasn't how that worked, you know?
Russia at that time was they immediately took over. They started a gulag system, concentration camps, where they were mass drowning Christians in barges. And this information is...
I feel like that is some bullshit. Right off the bat, that sounds like some hyperbolic nonsense. The Soviets are fucked when it came to a lot of this shit. I'm not even going to deny that. I'm no fan of the Soviet Union, especially under Stalin's regime. You ain't going to fucking see me defend that shit. I mean, I said earlier, fuck Stalin. He's literally a fascist in his own right. So it's like, you ain't going to see me defend his ass. But like that? Oh, Christians, you know, were just, like, in these, like, barges, like, what, like, off the fucking Volga or something? Just, like, drowned and killed or something? Like, give me a break. Come on. Like, I mean, yeah, there was definitely, you know, specific orders and certain things, you know, implied where it's, like, you know, when it came to certain shit like this, but it wasn't strictly against Christians. It was anyone who was against the regime broadly because Stalin was a fucking Iron Gauntlet fucking fascist. That's who he was. Anyone against, you know, the loyalty of the state, it was going to feel his fucking wrath. It don't really matter who it was. Even if you had a suspicion of you being against the state, it was going to purge you. That's why the Great Purge happened. Shocker, under his regime specifically. Wonder why. Because he was a fascist, paranoid, schizophrenic, fucking psychopathic fucking scum. That's who he was.
Available, and yet you never learn about it. And people don't want to talk about it.
That's true, man. Nobody ever hears anything bad about the Soviet Union in American history classes. That's so
definitely
true.
Not at all.
You know, you never hear about this. What?
It makes them very uncomfortable.
Well, them very uncomfortable.
Makes them very uncomfortable, huh? I wonder what you're mentioning, Clandis. And the idea that, like, oh, no one ever wants to talk about these uncomfortable truths about the Soviet Union. Are you fucking kidding me? Most of my education when I was growing up was basically antagonists against the Soviet Union. Like in, like, most of my, like, you know, history classes, even in my economics class in high school and in college, like, just flat out, it always was. Even if it was going to nitpick, you're like, yeah, this was probably not necessarily a bad idea, but the way they did it, though. You know, they would always do that type of shit. And granted, maybe, you know, it was true, you know, with certain things. But, like, the whole, like, fundamental idea of, like, well, it's the Soviet Union, though. They were the bad guys at one point. Like, that's still there. And it's always going to, like, you know, override any genuine, potentially, like, you know, good position that, you know, that might, or, like, good policy that might have come from the Soviet Union. Because there are some, and, you know, from its history that, you know, exists. But when it comes to, like, the different leadership, you know, regimes that, you know, especially under Stalin, you know, that have existed, you know, during the Soviet Union, yeah, it ain't good. And there's a reason why it eventually kind of collapsed, because really, I mean, if you really want to, like, bring it down to the root outside of Stalin shit, it was because a lot of these autocratic authoritarians basically, you know, solidified a whole broader, like, you know, state regime, you know, essentially. Like, the idea of, like, you know, classless communist society or any of that, like, it literally it got, you know, set aside. And it was like, fuck that shit. We're just going to use that as basically, you know, a sense of symbolism. That's why the whole hammer sickle and like, the whole like, great, Soviet patriot, kind of mentality, became a big thing, especially under Stalin, because he emphasized shit like that. He emphasized a sense of nationalism and a sense of, sense of revolution, so to speak. And that's also the difference between Trotsky and Stalin too, which is why, Stalin had Trotsky again, by the way, just kind of bring it to this whole anti-Semitic element that, Clandis wants to kind of bring with this whole, this bullshit or whatever, is that Leon Trotsky was a Jewish man and Stalin had him killed. And Trotsky was more about the principles of establishing a permanent workers' revolution. Like, he literally believed in the Fourth International Permanent Revolution philosophy. And and at least when it comes to communists, there are some that call themselves Trotskyists because they believe in that broader philosophy. Which actually, I tend to be way more sympathetic with the Trotskyist, like, communist philosophy more so than any other philosophy broadly, because of that. Because they tend to be more true to that idea, like Trotsky was, more so than any other communists, arguably, because of Trotsky literally got like a bad shake of the deal. Like, he literally got exiled, got, literally co-opted of the leadership and the power that he was supposed to inherit, so to speak. I mean, granted, the dictatorial, like, chairman, so to speak, bullshit, the flaws of all that, being. It's like, there's a reason why Lenin, trusted him to be the inheritor of, like, the leadership of the Soviet Union. It's kind of a reason why he was the second in command of all that. And the reason why Stalin was, very adamant about make sure he died and make sure he was killed and exiled at the very minimum, but, permanently, tied as a loose end. Like, when it came to Great Purge, he made goddamn sure that he was gone. Like, like, he literally had a fucking assassin go out of their way to go to fucking Mexico to kill him. Because he had a little fucking, fortress basically out in Mexico City because he knew he was going to probably be killed. And even then, it's like it didn't prevent it. Like, because he knew that, that Stalin was a problem and he was going to be a foiler, to the whole broader, like, revolution, so to speak. And he saw the writing on the wall. I mean, when he got exiled, that's why he went to Mexico, because also historically during that time, Mexico was going for a pretty strong leftist, revolution too, as well during that era. And, he helped kind of garner and, like, solidify some of that power there too as well for a little bit of time, at least while he was alive, and was able to kind of help organize, during that time there too. So, I mean, he's a very influential and really cool person to look up about. Like, Leon Trotsky is such a cool character, and he's got some, essays, writings and stuff that you can find online or even buy as well. You can find that shit, so, but either way, it's like, he's a really cool, fascinating character, honestly. I mean, when it comes to this type of shit, say what you want about these stupid fucks, like Jimmy or Clandis, like, the broader historical stuff that is being kind of referenced is generally kind of cool stuff to learn about. Especially when it comes to, like, Trotsky and, like, Stalin and, like, the power struggle, so to speak, during the Soviet Union of this time. Like, it's actually some really genuinely some cool history. And I think kind of helps understand why, like, the Soviet Union went down the path that it did. And also, like, why there is such a, like, why there's such, like, an animosity towards, like, the broader, like, communist ideas, so to speak. Whether it's Bolshevik or, socialism or whatever the fuck, Marxism or whatever, like, there's always going to be, like, some scapegoat buzzword around it. But, like, when you kind of, learn the history around us, especially as to why that is kind of the case, you kind of see a rhythmic pattern, to the shit. I mean, especially when it comes to, Jimmy and Clandis here. Like, these two motherfuckers are literally saying 1930s era fucking Nazi shit. And it's like, I mean, and this shit hasn't changed. I mean, instead of, like, cultural Bolshevism, or, like, fucking, cultural, like, communism, whatever the fuck you want to say, now it's called, like, cultural Marxism, or, like, this like cultural wokeism and shit. Like they have different phrases and different terminology, but if you really want to bring it down to the core root of everything, it all leads to the same shit. And shocker, it leads to some Nazi shit every time. Like, I mean, it's kind of doesn't behoove me honestly because I kind of see the patterns of this shit. But what does Jimmy not? Like, this is what kind of really grinds my gears about this. Like, does Jimmy not see this shit? Or does he, and he actually believes this? And he actually is okay with this? Does he actually believe what, Clandis is saying and what these fuckers are saying? Does he actually honestly believe that? Because if that is the case, then holy fuck. I actually feel a little gross, especially on top of being pissed off that I actually liked you. When it comes to someone like Jimmy. It's like, fuck. Because I swear to God, dude.
Just straightforward Nazi. Also, when did... This doesn't even make sense within the context of Jimmy Dore's previously established campism. Jimmy Dore used to be the kind of like Jackson Hinkle campus, where he's like pro-Syria, pro-Russia, pro-China, but now we're doing like anti...
Well, I mean, I've been a fan of Jimmy for a while. Well, was. At least I was a fan of Jimmy until 2019 at least, post 2020. Since post COVID. I was a fan of Jimmy until COVID. And, I would say that, like, he wasn't really, like, legit, like, pro-Russia or, like, pro-China necessarily. But was at least, I think, willing to, like, cherry pick maybe certain things that were like, well, this is actually good. Kind of thing, type of shit, I think. Like, for example, like with China, like maybe when it comes to like, different infrastructure projects or like, making new high-speed rail or some shit like that. I think he would like cherry pick certain things like that as to be like, well, see, if they could do it, why aren't we? Kind of shit. Which, fair enough, I think is understandable. Like, it's like if we got, like, these other nations making high-speed rail and all this crazy new technological advancing infrastructure and all this other shit, it's like, especially as the big bad fuck you country of America, why in the fuck are we doing it, It's like, I'm not much of a nationalist, patriotic, gun-ho motherfucker, but it's like, if we're gonna have that, why aren't we having them with stuff like that, Like, I can kind of get it there. But when it comes to like this, like, oh well, fuck Ukraine or fuck Israel, or like, or all this other shit, or like literally saying, well, who gives a fuck about culture war shit, because Russia's X, Y, or Z or whatever. It's like, well, no, well, fuck that. Like that, like I'm not gonna, just defend that shit, nor even like, entertain it, because why? Like that's absurd. Like, I mean, I'm willing to look at maybe certain things, like I said, like, maybe some cool high-speed rail projects or, some new infrastructural project stuff or, like, a new modern, like, kind of, like, green, efficient kind of factory or something, whatever the fuck, I don't know, just, like, name an example kind of shit, right? Like, I think, that should be shit that we should be doing here. But, it's like, in seeing other countries, kind of making those extra leaps to do that shit, and we're stagnating over here. It's like, why? We got all the fuck you money to invest in shit like this, and yet we're just not. It's like, we should be doing that. I mean, we should be literally like the top fuck you dog on shit like that. But, nope. Like, we're just not. Like, it's been literally since the 80s when this high-speed rail project in California from, like, what? Like, San Francisco to Bakersfield or some shit or something like that. I mean, it's like, that's been going on since the 80s, and it's now finally starting to, like, have its first test runs in, like, a tiny little chunk of it being built. The entire thing isn't even completed. Like, that's been a boondoggle since, like, the 80s or the 90s or something. It's like, why in the fuck is that, like, been going on and stagnate for so long? That's, like, our high-speed rail project, and it's basically isolated in California in, like, a tiny little chunk of Cali. It's like, what? Like, that should be a whole West Coast up and down the entire fucking coast, and fucking like, you know, going, you know, to the East Coast too, in different regions. It's like there should be like a high-speed rail going from like Seattle to Chicago, and then from Chicago to New York, and then from like New York to Orlando, and then like Orlando to like Dallas, and then like Dallas to, you know, Santa Fe, and then like Santa Fe to LA, and then like LA to San Fran, and then like LA to then like San Fran to fucking Portland or some shit, and then like Portland to Seattle. And then you have like smaller, like high speed rail, you know, lines that are more direct, you know, maybe like Santa Fe to, you know, San Fran or some shit, you know, like stuff like that. It's like, you know, you can have other lines, you know, connect from that, but those should be literally the main lines right there. And yet, we're not even close to that shit. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, it's absurd. Let's smoke. Oh, I just did.
Soviet stuff, which seems contrary because the kinds of people who today defend Assad usually would say that, if anything, America's too critical of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Did he get so much money from the COVID denial stuff that he realizes now his audience might as well just be Nazis? What do the comments look like underneath this video? That's what I'm curious about. Jimmy Dore is whoever's writing the Czech campus. Yeah, that's true. I guess I just didn't realize the Czech was like, the video is called Shocking Candace Owens Interview with Jimmy Dore. That might be true. All right, let's take a look at the comments. 90% of Americans now identify as non-binary, laughing, crying emoji ×3. Gotcha.
Non-binary? Oh my god. So literally some stereotypical MAGA chud is just like, gender stuff.
Okay. Thomas Massey, my wife lost her hospital job because she refused to be vaccinated. Okay, how far down do we have to go before anyone... It's all COVID stuff. How far...
She's the best now that she's free from Daily Wire. Tucker Carlson is better without Fox News as well. Ugh. 1.9k likes? Oh my god! Ugh. I lost 3 vaccinated grandparents within this 6-month period. Bullshit. I don't even believe that. That sounds like nonsense. What? This is a whole paragraph! Oh my god, it's a whole essay. It says read more. That's not even the whole thing. All of them had the Moderna and Pfizer boosters. Dude, I've got the Moderna vax, and guess what? I'm still alive, and in fact, you know what? I'm even going to say right now. Actually, after I got my second vax, I actually felt energized. I was like, you know what? Let's fucking go, bitch. I was like, boom. Let's go. Like, I was actually kind of like, you know, pumped up a little bit after that second one. No one in my family had a history of heart problems. Yes, certainly. They had myocardial infarctions and blood clots. Could it be potentially maybe due to... Oh, I know. Oh my god, it literally is COVID shit. Holy shit. Like, do these people not realize that there's, like, other conditions that might play a role in things like this? Oh my god, bro.
How do we have to go before anyone talks about the blatant Nazi propaganda? Hunter Biden, the jab. I am from New Zealand. On the 15th of November 2021, I stood up to the bullies and was sacked for my 18-year teaching career and passion because I refused to comply with the order to inject the C jab.
Oh my god, wow. What a hero. What a hero. Give this motherfucker a Medal of Honor right now. Oh my god, the Medal of Honor. The Medal of Freedom. Holy shit. Wow. I'm being very sarcastic, by the way. But, oh my god, really? Wow. I refuse. I stood up to the establishment. Because I want to put everyone's health at risk. Fuck everybody. Oh my fucking god, dude. Wow.
These people are crazy. These are...
No shit!
The comments, I mean. Can you just get, like, libertarian-leaning COVID denialists? on board with Nazism that easily? I guess you can.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm literally not seeing anyone.
Dude, even my libertarian OG, like libertarian American dad, literally will talk about like Soros and shit. Yes, it's that easy. Okay, I'm sorry, but it is that easy, Boosh. Vosh, it is that easy, my guy, my dude, my guy. It is that easy. I'm sorry, but it is. I've literally have seen my dad like say, well, if it wasn't for them damn Soros bucks, these damn protesters or whatever, like he's literally done that. And he's like a OG American libertarian, like an OG one. And also, he's like, I don't understand why people hate Jews so much, you know, kind of guy. But yet, he would also fucking be like, damn Soros. Like, legit. I mean, you know, so I don't know, like, make that for what you will. Like, he's like, I don't know why people hate Jews, but goddamn Soros, that motherfucker. I don't understand it, but that's not how he is.
Goodness. Like, it's all just a random USS Liberty comment. Oh, I missed that one.
I mean, that one isn't... arguably, that is not anti-Semitic, okay? Like, I'm going to be honest with that one. Like, I don't know if anyone knows about the USS Liberty thing, but that was, like, they were, like, I think the USS Liberty was what was it? It was I think a reconnaissance destroyer or some shit like that, I think. It was, like, off the coast of, like, the Sinai, Peninsula or some shit. Something like that. I know, from my understanding, it was, like, off the coast of, like, Egypt and Israel and shit. But it was like during, I think, the 6 Days War, and Israeli Air Force pilots, you know, saw the USS Liberty and basically, you know, were bored and shot the fuck out of it and killed a bunch of US sailors, and the ship was heavily damaged. Didn't sink or anything, but was very heavily damaged. And there was a whole scandal because the IDF and the IDAF, the Israeli the Defense Air Force, you know, basically said, oh, well, that was Egypt that did it. You know, and we thought that was the Egyptian vessel, so we did attack, but that was actually Egyptians that did it, you know, fundamentally. Like, there was kind of like a contradictory, you know, like, answer to what happened. And there's also, like, radio and, like, you know, call back recordings. There's a lot of evidence to say that, like, yes, Israel literally did that. And it was basically dismissed as just like, and kind of brushed under the rug for the most part by the Israeli and the U.S. government to say like, well, it happened, but yeah, and it just kind of was kind of brushed under the rug a little bit. I mean, nothing really came out of it for the most part. Like, you know, there was no repercussions to the pilots. I mean, none of the sailors are compensated, or, you know, the families, you know, compensated that, you know, of the sailors and that were killed or anything like that. Just nothing happened from it. It happened. It was fucked up, and it was like friendly fire basically, and just nothing came from it because a bunch of Air Force, you know, pilot, you know, gun-ho motherfucking Rambo piece of shit on the IDAF, you know, decided to fucking, you know, attack a U.S. vessel. Because, shocker, considering all the endless evidence of what Israel's been doing with Palestine and Gaza and Rafah and shit, and to the Palestinians every fucking day with every new, you know, with all the evidence going on, with, like, literally training dogs to, like, you know, fucking rape prisoners and shit, you know, like, and also systemic rape squads against, you know, going from, like, you know, place to place, you know, specifically trying to find and target women and shit. And, like, you know, all this other shit. Like, I mean, there's literally, like, shit that honestly would make the Nazis be like, yo, you need to chill the fuck out, honestly. Like, even the Nazis will be like, yo, you need to chill the fuck out with, like, you know, how insane some of the shit that's been coming out when it comes to, like, you know, the evidence of what the IDF, you know, has been doing. It's fucking wild. I mean, just look at, like, any of the Kyle Kalinske videos from Secular Talk. I mean, just look at any of that shit. Like, look at any of his videos because, like, I mean, he's usually one of the very few that actually, like, talks about these things and actually brings that to the forefront. As fucked as and horrible and heinous, you know, as that shit is, it's like he's one of the very few actually talking about it because it needs to. And it's absurd that this is just allowed and accepted. And the thing is, it has nothing to do with Jewish people. It's just a fucking nation state. It just happens to be called Israel. Like, I mean, that's just that's the problem. I mean, I don't give a fuck if this is like Saudi Arabia doing this shit, or like Myanmar doing this shit, or Rwanda doing this shit, or Mexico doing this shit. I don't give a fuck what country's doing this shit. It's fucked no matter what. I don't care where it comes from. It should be curtailed and fucking like criticized and have the same vitriol, as I have now, and frankly, way fucking worse, and way more venomous vitriol that I frankly cannot say here at all, just for the sake of my own fucking platform. Just because of like how insane that of what's going on. I mean, if we have that same vitriol with the fucking Nazis back in World War II, then why shouldn't we with this? Because that's kind of where my position is with this at this point. Especially with me as a punk. Like, there's a reason why the Dead Kennedys had the whole, song called Nazi Punks Fuck Off. Because, at the end of the day, Nazis, whether they're punk or not, should fuck off. From life, especially. If they can help it. Without having it have anyone else involved in it. That'd be preferable.
Whom she invoked USS Liberty. Okay, yeah. I don't see anything here about... Okay, you can criticize Israel without hating Jews. 10 comments. I wonder what those are like. Why not both? Can and should. Comments on this country are being deleted like hell? No, you can't. Israel is the state of the Jewish people. The overwhelming majority of Jews support Israel, and a ton of their orgs are centered around supporting it.
And before, like, the Jewish Voice for Peace and, like, literally every other fucking Jewish-based organization that is against Zionism, anti-Yiddish Zionists, for example, like, or, like, Yiddish anti-Zionists, like, I mean, like, There's plenty of Jewish people, and arguably, like, the majority of the Jewish diaspora, that are against Zionism. And, like, Zionism is literally, like, detrimental towards Jewish people broadly, and than people think. So, No, it ain't. Oh my god. Ugh. He's fucking Nazi. This is how I can understand when someone's JQ, and when someone's just simply anti-Zionist. It's like when they literally tied, like, oh, well, Jewish organizations, all the Jews, and this and that, are Zionists, and this and that, and pro-Israel. It's like, that's where you can kind of tell. It's like, no. Like, yeah, there are some Jews that are very pro-Zionist, pro-Israeli. Like, I mean, yeah, and a lot of them, shocker, live in Israel. Not all, most of them don't live in Israel. Or at least, most Zionists do. But most anti-Zionist Jews don't live in Israel. The very few that do that live in Israel tend to either get arrested or fucking beaten the fuck out of, by other Zionists, Jews or other Zionists that live in Israel. Like, I mean, the anti-Zionists that do live in Israel tend to literally get their shit kicked. Like, legit. Like, there's plenty of videos of that. And even if you happen to be a Christian that is doing, like, some sort of a mission out there, these same Zionists will literally spit in your fucking face. Like, they don't give a fuck about it. Like, they literally will see anybody. Like, the Zionists will literally see anyone, that isn't like some Zionist Israeli as a lesser. Like, I mean, it's honestly fucking wild. Even if they happen to be a Jew too. Like, they literally have like a fucking like eugenics program against Ethiopian Jews. They won't they literally have done against the consent of Ethiopian Jewish women of basically sterilizing them and shit. Like, that is an actual fucking fact. And hey, like, what are those Ethiopians, even though they are Jewish, like, what are they not Jews just because they happen to not be like the specific like Israeli Jew that you are or some shit? Like, it's fucking maddening. Like, they don't give a fuck, honestly, at the end of the day, even if you happen to be Jewish. So it's like, what really is more anti-Semitic? Zionism or, like, being anti-Zionist? Because being anti-Zionist is actually being defensive of Jewish people. Because the majority of the Jewish diaspora, and that includes all the different, ethnic, Jewish people that exist out there in the world, whether they're Ethiopian Jews, Ashkenazi, etc., like all, everything else in between. It's like, I mean, the idea of the Zionists, using their name, so to speak, to defend their insane shit is detrimental towards people like that. Because look what it fucking breeds. It breeds this weird Nazi shit. And they just use this as a scapegoat to enable and fucking push their shit. Like, I mean, and that's more disgusting than anything else. But, I guess being anti-Zionist is being anti-Semitic is wrong. At least, that was a bill that was passed in America here. Even though it literally has fuck all to do with each other. That is fucking maddening to me. Because honestly, I can even show really quick here. I know there is a... Yeah, it's right here. It's called O You Fushel Zionist, and it's a Yiddish anti-Zionist song. It's also called Oli Inalisha Zionisten, which it's in Yiddish, which frankly I don't understand fucking Yiddish, but it's a good song, actually. It actually goes kind of hard. It's got a good little rhythm to it.
Oh, you know who is in control? Man, that's crazy. Genuinely, how many of Door's original followers still follow him wholeheartedly?
Probably none of them, arguably. Because I used to be a hardcore Jimmy Dore fan back in the day. Used to. And now I'm just pissed off that this is where he has fallen. This is literally where he's at now. I am just angry at it at this point. I mean, I don't really have the anger at, the show at this point because I already did, but it's still there. Because fuck, dude.
Probably a decent number because Jimmy Dore was always conspiratorial enough that you can sort of groom your audience into following along on a bunch of...
Depends on how critically thinking they are. Because I'm pretty critical thinking. I like to delve into certain conspiracy theories. And frankly, honestly, there's been some of them that are actually kind of true. The whole USS Liberty thing, by the way, that's not a Jew thing. That's a Israeli state Zionist thing. And also, like, when it came to, like, the whole, like, issue of 9/11 or maybe, JFK, like, there's certain conspiracy theories, that, yeah, there's a kernel truth to it. And yeah, Jimmy was kind of one of those guys, so kind of, like, call shit like that out. There's also another one that people don't necessarily talk about too much, but during 2016, there was a guy named Seth Rich who was, like, a DNC kind of, like, Democrat, insider a little bit. And he was one of the few that blew the whistle about, like, hey, like, it, like, the whole DNC and the entire, like, primary is literally being pushed by Hillary to be against Bernie, essentially. And he was killed in a botched robbery where and there's actual video of this where, from a, street, camera, where he, got shot right in the back of the head. And the dude just walked the fuck off. And supposedly, the dude, that, killed him, tried to, like, mug him. And it was, in a botched robbery. Even though the video literally shows him just walking up behind him and just and shooting him and just walking past him. As he just lies dead in the street. Like, so, yeah, sounds like a robbery right there, huh? But... but considering, his more broader political ties, and being in DNC and Hillary, kind of like solidifying a lot of her power to, like, co-opt and, like, pretty much, stifle, the entire primary against, Bernie at that time, kind of makes a little bit of sense, especially of how much of a bloodthirsty psycho that Hillary is. Like, there's a whole, like, we came, we saw, he died. Like, I mean, she literally had that as a fucking quote. I mean, she was a war hawk, bloodthirsty maniac. She loved the fucking idea of having blood in the street. She was, someone that literally thirsted on the idea of blood being spilt in her name. She loved it. She revered it. So, of course she was going to enjoy some shit like that. Didn't do any favors because look what the fuck got us. But yet, one conspiracy that people don't really necessarily notice too much or talk about as much. I actually know another one that is even more rare that people don't talk about. Michael Renall. He was a protester here in Portland during 2020, and he got in a scuffle with a bunch of Proud Boy MAGA chuds and far right, Nazis that happened to be trying to fuck with people, in one of these protests back in 2020. And he got attacked and got, pepper sprayed by one of these MAGA chuds, and he pulled out his, firearm and shot and killed one of them. I don't think he intentionally meant to kill one of them, but that just happened to be the case. One of them died. And he fled the scene and ran off because obviously he doesn't want to fucking probably get shot back or anything because he's trying to defend himself and get out of there and type of shit. And he ended up kind of hiding for a while. He ended up doing one interview with Vice News before he fled to Washington to one of his friends to where one of his houses are over there. And this actually ended up being some pretty big news at the time. And even Trump commented on it. It's like, yeah, I want to make sure that, I give full permission of, the marshals, the Fed marshals, to find him and do whatever they need to do to take him out, to deal with him, and literally made that as a, pretty much a declaration. And the Fed marshals, even before that was even made, were literally begging him because they knew where he was. They were tracking him. They knew every fucking step he was making, and they were begging him to be like, please let us kill him. Please let us whack him. And he made that call on national television, and literally within, I think it was literally that fucking day, like, he was leaving his friend's house to, go in his car to go, somewhere, probably, I don't know, maybe to a hotel or somewhere else, maybe go to another, town or maybe another friend or family member. I don't know what. I don't know what his intentions were. Who knows, honestly. But, like, he left, and the Fed marshals happened to see him leave. They rolled up, like, literally mafia style, like they were a fucking mafia gang, and whacked him on the sidewalk. And he was still alive when they literally pulled out of the vehicle and started shooting at him, to kill him. And he was still alive. And, like, he was at the front of his vehicle, but he started crawling to his trunk. Was able to get his trunk unlocked because he had his fucking gun and his AR-15 in the trunk. And he was going to go grab that to try to at least, do a final stand, type of thing, basically. And by the time he was around the corner from the trunk, like one of the Fed marshals literally walked up to the sidewalk and just literally walked up to him and just fucking shot him multiple times right in the fucking head. And there is video footage from witnesses that happen to be in that neighborhood and in that block. There's evidence of this. And no one fucking talks about it. But Donald Trump literally called that hit. He literally called the hit of Michael Renall because, God fucking forbid, he defended himself against a bunch of Nazis that were fucking threatening his life in Portland, in my city, where these fucking scum were trying to threaten people's lives around here and torment and taunt and harass people and beat the shit out of people because, they want to try to fucking make a point. Because they want to show their fucking Nazi face and make a point, to try to fucking threaten people. Fuck them.
In bad positions. This is one of the reasons conspiracism is really, 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 really dangerous, because once you've been keyed into, anytime anyone says, they don't want you to know this is a secret, I'm telling you, you can get them to believe basically anything. I guess I didn't realize how far along Jimmy Dore had gotten. Like, this seems like a lot, personally. This seems like, I'll admit, this is a little bit further than I expected. I have no idea what, like, prior context would have led to them both just, like, regurgitating Nazi propaganda of this time, but, I'm not omniscient. I don't know.
I didn't hear about it until I heard you talk about it.
Yeah, Henry Goda. Look him up. It's stunning. I mean, he must have killed alone 15 million people. And this is a person that's not even spoken about. And so that's the reason why Piers just goes, okay, yeah, no, okay, let's move on to the next point. So in my viewpoint, the Israeli government has way too much involvement with the American government.
That's crazy. The immediate segue too, from straight up like, yeah, the Stalin was a Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy to kill Christians immediately into Israel. Whatever happened to dog whistling, man?
And part of that, this program, and you saw this after October 7th, Congress immediately passed that there would be we would be learning about October 7th in schools as if it was like Pearl Harbor, right? A day that will live in infamy. Why? This is not my country. That's a nonsense. And if the answer is, because it's a day that should live in infamy, why just Israel? Why is Israel?
Well, I agree with her on this, but the problem is when she says it's part of the JQ, and when I say it, I'm just opposed to Zionism.
Right? Why not also?
No shit. I mean, that's kind of the problem with, like, GQers. It's like they might have, like, the tiniest little kernel of truth, or they might have, like, the tiniest little point, broken clockwise twice a day moment. But at the end of the day, it's like, you're wrong. Because you're a JQ fucking Nazi weird freak. You're not just doing it because, like, you're against the state of Israel and their genocide and their insane fucking investment into, like, justifying their fucking dogma fascist nonsense. I mean, like, it ain't about that.
Happening in Armenia, are happening in Nigeria, are happening all over the world. Why not a day that live in infamy? Russia actually just went through a terror attack, and Russia has a lot of Christians. I'm Christian. So if we can just start drafting over days of terror that happen on the basis of our religion, I'd like to draft what just happened in Russia. I want my kids to learn about that in school.
Go ahead, Kurt.
I mean, sure. I know that Russia did go for a recent, terror attack or whatever the fuck, but you know what? Like, sure. Like, I mean, yeah, when it comes to, like, contemporary modern history, if that's, like, something that, like, high school kids, learn, sure, why not? I'm not against that. Nor am I necessarily against learning about October 7th, but it shouldn't be, like, this is, like, the pinnacle, ultimate, like, thing that we have to learn about. It should just be like, yeah, so we're now going to, learn about the contemporary modern history and what's going on today. So, yeah, recently this happened, and also Russia recently had this happen, blah, 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 blah. Like, I mean, that would make sense, and that's fine.
Stalin hated Jews. Yeah, a lot of people, one of the biggest points of evidence against the so-called Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy theory is the fact that the Soviets were crazy anti-Semitic. The Doctor's Plot was a Soviet state-sponsored anti-Semitic campaign and conspiracy theory that alleged a cabal of prominent medical specialists, predominantly of Jewish ethnicity, intending to murder leading government or party officials, known as the case of saboteur doctors or killer doctors. A ton of them were accused of a conspiracy to assassinate Soviet leaders, and
Mainly because they're Jewish. This is something I was talking about earlier. If anything, I think Fosh might be kind of talking about some of the stuff I was already going on for like the last 2 hours. So, can you chill the fuck out, dog? Here, you know what? Here. I'll give you this other little chunk of meat. How about that? Hey, paw. Stay. Here, give me that. You fucking little freak. Hey, paw. I swear to God, if you fuck around with the bong. There you go. I had to get a dad tax. Jesus. It's dry as fuck. I guess it was jerky, but still. Damn. But, like I was saying, I think Vosh is going to probably essentially talk about like a lot of stuff I was already kind of referring to from the last 2 hours, so at least to get this last little bowl loaded and all good, because I'm also getting a little hungry, and It's pretty much a morning as well. So probably a good idea to probably come good at this rate. You know what? I will say, a good little late night, little fun vibe. I will say, a good little momento. But we'll see if I'll do a little coffee stream for the morning before work, and if not, then it'll probably be during my lunch break. But we'll try to at least shove it right before I have to go to work. Hopefully. Ugh. Okay, now what the fuck are you doing? Hey, what are you scavenging for? Hey, buddy, can you not? Hey, Zooks, no, stop scavenging. Oh shit. But anyway, I'll just go for now. So, peace out. I'll see y'all next one. So.